Hello and welcome to the Crow's Nest. My name is Brandon Kane, coming back at you guys here. It's been a little bit of time away, but we are back now with Mariners going fairly strong as of recent, but it's been a while since I've streamed, of course, deep into training camp and Seahawks stuff ramping up on the other channel, but I did want to get back over here and still get the streams in as we can. I haven't been able to do as many as I've wanted this year. Partly just being so busy, but been partly also a little bit because it's frustrating through a lot of this period watching this Mariners team. It's great to see that they have recently shown a lot of resiliency and are bouncing back and going to make it looks like a true run at this, despite the fact that if you really put a label on it, they were probably more in sell mode at the trade deadline than they were in buy mode. So, it's good to see that they are still showing this kind of resiliency. We saw it last year when they got hot after a really tough start to the season as well, in addition to that. And I do think this is one of the reasons I want to do the stream tonight. This is also going to be a fun game. It always is here with the Angels. They're going to try to take 3 in a row here from them in this series and maybe go for a sweep tomorrow if they can. But kind of beyond that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what they did at the trade deadline and why, though I'm really frustrated with this season and what they've done and how they've done it and the way they've gone about it, I also understand why they did what they did. And at the end of the day, kind of would end up falling along with being supportive of them, not necessarily doing a lot at the trade deadline. And we've got a very animated Julio Rodriguez here after a particular play where the umps seem to have potentially they're blown 2 calls in a row. Eugenio Suarez trying to calm him down. Kind of an interesting little moment here early on. It's we're already heating, we're already cooking up. So that's good to see. The Mariners did challenge the play, decided to see if they get a change on the ruling on the field. Julio does not. He looks kind of about as angry as I think I've ever seen him here on the field at the moment as he's pacing back and forth in center field. Trying to process a little bit of what just happened, but I'm sure not too happy the refs. Looked like there was 2 different plays where first play he had to go back to first base where it looked like he got a clean steal, and then it looks like he got in there again. But Julio, none too pleased. We are into the bottom of the first inning here as Mariners were not able to make anything happen there in the first inning. Nitro Hawks, good to see you. Steele, what's up, man? Good to see you. Steele says he's at the game now. What's up, man? That's awesome. Hope it's a good game. Boy, I'll tell you what, Julio looks like he's got smoke coming out his ears right now. He seems so angry. But I'm going to be a guy that's going to have a pretty specific view, I think, on this Mariner trade deadline situation, and I'm sure I'm going to be asked about it a couple times over the course of the stream, so I'm going to let it rip here at the opening on kind of a shorthand manner because I'm sure we'll be expanding into it more. But the bottom line for me was that even though the Mariners had grown relatively hot in the month of July and were playing better baseball, I don't know that they were showing me that they were playing better enough baseball to believe that this is a World Series contending team. And if I'm going to make a go for it move to go out there and sacrifice future at that point, I need to have more of a certainty of what I'm bringing in is really going to cap it off in that way. When we've made moves in the past around the trade deadline, and I'll go way back for you, it was like the Andy Bennis move, I think it was back in 95, where you got a good starting pitcher at the trade deadline. You offloaded at that point, but it was for something that was in dire need there in the rotation. You could get one hitter into this lineup and you still need more. That doesn't fix things. That doesn't solve anything. And looking at the hitters that were available or the possibilities, it wasn't like it was prime grade A beef out there on the open market. It was pretty thin. Ooh, George Kirby hits Luis Renifo in the leg, and Luis has got to be going, man, I got to catch a break here. He just had that tough swing last night where he almost looked like he had the Mike Trout injury on his hand off the follow through of his swing, and now he gets hit right in the foot on a place where you're kind of really exposed in there. Just a breaking ball that got away from Kirby. So one man on here, nobody out. And I know that there has been recent teams like even a Braves team that's gone on to win a World Series in recent years that did get hot late in the year, and maybe they had shown kind of in their own fashion similar equivalent stuff as far as there being holes, and Ohtani hits this hard down the line and that thing will stay foul. And that's true, but that's not to me really a proven track record of a lot of teams doing this. That's more of the outlier to the situation than the rule. And if that's the case, as much as I'm frustrated that this team isn't getting back to the playoffs, as much as it sucks they didn't make a move, given the way this season's kind of uncorked, and given the nature of the multitude of guys who have really underperformed in the lineup from an offensive standpoint for the most part through most of this season, especially leading up to the trade deadline, I think you kind of just had to ride it out for what it was going to be. And Ohtani, again, good inside-out swing, right down the line, almost on the line there to the left side. Foul, so it'll be 0-2 here with Ohtani. So I'm going to go and say that I lean back in that and I go, I don't have a super huge issue with this. This is not something that's going to rankle me as much as it did other Mariner fans. I'm more maddened about the way that they constructed this team this offseason, of course. And you can definitely, if you want to have me sign up for you with lamenting the way that they spent their money and all of that, I'm with you on that. And it gets very maddening the way that they, can't seem to do anything about this lineup year after year. And they don't seem to have any real answers. And the answers seem to be just kind of these soft strokes that they make that, never really even come close to, solving the problem at hand. 98-mile-an-hour fastball right in on the hands on Ohtani, and he manages to fire that back. Just an impressive player. And speaking of Ohtani, here's where a little bit of what I would say my understanding and my patience comes to this place on this. Is that I'll wait through this offseason. I'm not going to be standing in a place saying that I think Dipoto's got to go out there and make a whole bunch of moves now or he needs to be fired, sorry. But now I think when you get into this offseason and you've not made this move at the deadline, you've not sacrificed any of your future real prospects here, you've let your farm system continue to build, continue to grow, continue to mature, then I think you need to now make your heavy run this offseason and in a manner that goes big. And my opinion is, being that you've been the most profitable team 2 times over now over the last 2 seasons, ball's hit on the ground, looks like a double play ball. Long up with it back over to first, and that will be 2. So 2 men quickly done here in the first. I don't know if you're going to be able to get Ohtani. I don't know if Ohtani wants to come here. He, of course, spoke back in the day about wanting to go to a different team than where Ichiro had gone because of the legacy. We'll see where that really stands. You guys and I probably were watching very closely him at the All-Star break and being asked the questions about the Mariners and smiling about it. And, the fans in the stadium chanting his name. And, certainly he's getting that love to potentially come here. But there's also a team like the Dodgers that have really wanted him as well. And they might have even more purse strings than we do to make that, to go out there and try to, make that trade. We got a 0-1 count here with Kirby. CJ Cron up to the plate now with 2 men down. Cron hitting, and Kirby is always just pumping the strikes in. This ball will be lifted out to right field, and Teoscar Hernandez comes up with it for out number 3 and a quick 1-2-3. Well, not 1-2-3, but a quick 3-out first inning here. So I would say this. I'll be understanding of Dipoto. I'll be understanding of ownership if they've taken this track this couple of years, but there's got to become a point in time when you open up the vault, when you crack the piggy bank, and you start spending. We are going to be once again this season the second most profitable team in all of baseball, or the most profitable team in all of baseball for 2 years back to back. That should be a lot of change that you have potentially stacked up to go out there and make a big swing kind of move. And this is where Ohtani comes into me is I may not beat it out for the Dodgers. He may decide he wants to go to the Dodgers because that's a legacy thing, or go to the Giants because that's a legacy thing, or go to wherever. But he doesn't leave. He doesn't say no to the Mariners because you are not willing to come up with the money that other people are willing to come up with. And this is I'm not a big guy on goodwill gestures. I'm not a big guy on, what's really makes sense, what doesn't make sense. But on this one, I'm going to make a bit of an exception. Your ownership is showing, part of the stuff's turned me off a bit this team and seeing this now, and the way that they built this team together, this ownership group at times is showing these signs of we're not really interested in spending money. We just want to field a competitive enough team to make sure we're drawing in our couple million fans every year. And this was a mentality that was definitely prevalent, very prevalent, from about 2002 onward into 2012. Where every year as a fan, you would come back around and go, boy, you guys kind of didn't really, you make this one signing like a Sexton, Beltran, but then you don't do anything kind of else. You go, okay, that's good. We did it, right? We're good. It's all turned around now. Robinson, Cano. Okay, we're good. All good. We got Robinson in here. It's all solved up now, right? Not really. Now, to me, though, you go to Ohtani here, and if he turns you down and you can come back to the fan base and say, hey, we just offered the most amount of money of any player we've ever offered to anybody in our history. We were willing to match the biggest offer he was willing to get out there, and he turned us down. Fair enough, fine. I'll turn your eyes to a different direction and find a different manner to improve this offense. But it cannot be that the Mariners were not in the market for Ohtani because they were not willing to spend the money to get Ohtani. This is the absolute create a major league player situation of the ideal for adding this guy in for the way this could set up into the future. If we put him out into right field, you have Julio out there in center, and then you can figure out what's what with Kelenic and that left field position as you move forward. But you will have stabilized your outfield. You'll also have stabilized fully your bullpen at that point. You can move Robbie Ray. You can package some other guys together. You're really given a lot of flexibility there going forward for how you decide to attack your rotation, say nothing of the bullpen as well. One of the reasons I like the fact they stand pat a little bit here as Teoscar Hernandez has quickly got himself into a 1-2 count here. High hits it up into right field directly into the sun. Right fielder's up with it, and he'll throw it back in for out number 1. So I definitely think I'd like to see him make a couple other moves in addition to this, but they should be sitting on money right now. This should be a situation of we've got some cash to go out there and spend. We're not spending on anybody, especially if they can find a way to offload that Robbie Ray contract and pull back a little bit of money from that. I know it's going to be hard after an injury. Maybe they have to eat some of the money on moving him if they do. But they've got to find a way to clear up this lineup because it's frustrating year after year coming back to it and finding a lineup full of guys that are, swinging for the fences, striking out often, and not able to play any kind of manner of small ball in a stadium that requires small ball. This is one of the reasons I've been, a bit out on this team as far as being World Series contenders this year. Is you break it down really to bully. Like if you have an offense that is batting average deprived, and sometimes the walks are there in games, sometimes the walks are not there at all because they're just free swinging way too much, and you're not able to play the small ball. You're stuck in a place at that point where you're having a lot of 1 and 2 run games or shutout games, as we've seen throughout the time here. So you got to get better at constructing this lineup with a little bit more of that built into it. And I think that's really where they're going to have to look into. And again, it'd be great to get Shohei. He'd clean up a lot of problems there himself just in his presence alone in this lineup. But we'll see what they do this offseason with it. I do like the run this team's making. I think if they even do get in the playoffs, it's going to be very tough for them to make a lot of noise at that point, in my opinion, because of just what they have to overcome to kind of get there right now. I don't know if they're even in as good a shape right now as they were like last year if we were to try to relate the two. If you look at the bullpen, you look at the overall starting pitching where it's currently at, though it's been great. Can't knock the starting pitching, by the way. They've been phenomenal. But still feel good about this team and its future, but it's been a little bit frustrating coming back into this year and seeing the old familiar ghosts haunting us, the same style and manner by which we lose baseball games over and over again for 2 decades becomes the same manner we lose most of the games this year. All that's being said, they've been very hot as of recent. It's great to see Crawford going. We got a 1-2 count here, 2-2 into Cal Raleigh with 2 men down. It's great to see after coming back a little bit of last year, the injuries thing, he was dealing with the back thing last year was Crawford. He's come back and been maybe the centerpiece point of this lineup. Make a strong argument. Julio has, I think, been having to fight through it throughout this whole year, and Raleigh will strike out there on a pitch on the outside corner. Again, it's those kind of swings that you get that can be so frustrating at times where they just are waving their bat at something that's not even close to the zone, and they're not even close to hitting it. But Julio's definitely been gritting his teeth, trying to kind of fight through what's obviously a bit of a sophomore slump for him. Raleigh, who I thought was going to take some steps forward a little bit with the batting average this year, get more up into the 250 range. He's still been about what you basically had last year from him from the position. France has been probably a little bit of a step back from what you normally get, though it's not been a huge step back for really any of these guys. They're just all hitting well below career norms, including Teoscar Hernandez. And when you got a whole lineup of those guys doing that, when you got a guy like Colton Wong completely falling off a cliff, it gets tough to field a team that can go out there and really compete for divisions. It's pretty much a testament here to the starting rotation, how well they have pitched, that we even find ourselves really this close at this point in time in the season, still in this, still dancing, and even not that far out from first place, considering we're sitting in August 5th still with a lot of games left to play. Big Country, it's good to see you in the house. How you doing? He says, Julio nearly blew a gasket. Yeah, I caused me to pause here in the live stream because I haven't seen him that mad in recent history. So I was like, whoa, what? Okay. I don't have the sound on, so I don't know, couldn't hear exactly what it was, but it did look like two plays back to back that were a little bit weird with the refs. Nitro Hawk says, how likely is it looking Ohtani goes into free agency? I think it's very likely. I think the Mike Trout injury, as much as anything, probably brought the likelihood of it up as much as anything. Because I know the Angels were able to still play really well after Trout went initially down, and Ohtani at the head of that, carrying that team through that run. But you eventually have it add up on a lineup that's not stacked enough to be able to really suffer a Mike Trout injury to be able to continue to stay up there and compete in an AL that's, pretty strong overall, especially for those teams vying for those wild card positions. So I think that this does knock them out of that contention. He's been there every single year, and they've never contended at any one point in time that he's been there with Anaheim. I maybe am reading into it a little bit, too much, but I do think that, if you're going to get a deal done with Ohtani, you probably were going to have to have gotten this deal done before the start of the season. And once he probably counts on himself, I just don't see it. It already seems to me like that flirtation is there in his own mind, and maybe rightfully so. As I was listening today, kind of just listen to the background here, and that ball's hit on the ground here after the two pitches here to Mike Masukas, and he will be thrown out at first for out number one. So we crisp along here on this game. Roll along. I do think it's more likely now, Nitro, he goes, because of the fact that you do have a situation here where, because you do have a situation here where, I was trying to think what I was trying to say there. It's just they haven't gotten the deal done. I think he's waited on purpose to see if the team was actually going to contend. I'm making guesses here, but I think it's a pretty good guess to make nonetheless. Strike one here to Brandon Drury. One man down here in the bottom of the second inning. Nitro says, how's Julio been looking? Haven't been keeping up with the Mariners too much. He's, it's been a tough season for him. And he's been one of those guys right there at the centerpiece of this lineup, along with your Eugenio Suarez and your Teoscar Hernandez and your Cal Raleighs, that are a lineup of free swingers everywhere. And it's not bad to have a lineup with a couple of free swingers, especially if you have guys that are operating in that fashion who can bring some power with it that you normally do get with that kind of type of player. The problem is if you get too many free swingers, this ball hit on the ground, right up the middle, long up with it, and he will throw them out for out number two. The problem is when you get too many of them, because then you get a lineup that's too heavily weighted in strikeouts. Too many guys that are not putting a ball in play. Too many low averages. Too much of a lack of guys, quite simply, getting on base. You got to sometimes just score a run. It doesn't got to come always from a home run. You got to get guys on base, push them over, do the little things, kind of make it work. But he's been doing better. And I think at the forefront of it lately has been his ability to go the other direction and commit to that, which allows him then to let pitches get a little bit later into his hands. Probably robs you at times as a power hitter of that power to go the opposite direction, but it does give you a chance to pick up the spin a little bit longer on a pitch, to wait in there just a little bit more, and you can still put really solid contact onto it at times, but it's the level swing and then the commitment to being willing to go the other way. Because those power hitters want to yank stuff at times because they can really lift it and send it for a drive. But that's been where he's been looking a little bit better to me recently. And the eye's been a little bit better too. Early on this year, there was no discernment at all going on. Big Country says Julio's been good recently, needs to be better in high leverage at bats though. That would certainly be something that would be an improvement that'd be nice to see too. Yeah, that's a good addition to everything I just said with that too. And Kirby gets a strikeout there on a nice breaking ball pitch. Hitter swung right through it, and that will finish up the second inning. So we'll go to the top of the third, 0-0. Garth Knight in the house. What's up, Garth? Good to see you, man. Says, Brando, you've got me on the Ohtani Dare to Dream Express. I say dream, man. This ownership group is getting into a very, very precarious situation here. And this is where I get sensitive to this, because I love my fellow Pacific Northwesterner. I love my fellow Mariners and Seahawks fans because I know, living through my life as I have in this region, at how faithful and devoted they are to these teams. And I've been through that stadium there in Seattle and been back at the Kingdome, and Kingdome wasn't maybe as filled as much, but since they've opened the new stadium there 20 years ago, it has been filled all the time. And those fans go out there for the 81 games, a lot of games every year, to go out into Seattle, go into downtown Seattle, find parking, find rides, get on the transit, go over to this thing, get on the train. It's a lot to get out there. Say nothing of the condition and shape downtown has been in as of recent. And you have these fans filling this park. You can't get to the playoffs but once in 23 years. You show yourself to be the most profitable organization in baseball, and then yet you won't spend money? How do the fans not eventually put two and two together? How do the fans not eventually get frustrated with that? It's one thing if they don't show up. It's one thing if the stadium's not filled and they're saying, what do you want us to do? We're not bringing in the revenue to spend the money. You guys have to show up a little bit here. You got to meet us a little bit halfway on this. Ownership can't say that to Mariner fans. And if that's indeed the case, then they need, to me, this is the old olive branch situation, Garth, where Ohtani's going to decide where he goes ultimately, and money may not be the thing that pushes his decision making, but you can certainly come back to your fan base and say, hey, we offered $600 million to this guy. We matched the Dodgers offer step for step. We got Ichiro on the line and flew him out to his home and did the whole hey, this is the countryman thing. This is this is the brotherhood thing. We had Ichiro pull that card on him. I want all the stops. I want all the stops pulled out, Garth. And then they come back, and if it fails at that point, fine. It fails at that point. We can twist and turn our spotlight onto something else. We got an 0-1 count here to Tom Murphy. One guy who has had a good season, by the way, has been Tom Murphy. We had really hoped having him back this year after he was gone last year would be a big boon, and it certainly has been. But they've got to do it. And you look at his response. I mean, here's my impression of Shohei Ohtani being asked the question when he's sitting there at the press conference at the All-Star game. And we got a 1-2 count here for Tom Murphy, who's in the midst of a 7-game hitting streak, hitting .407 over that time with 2 home runs. Low, ball bounced right in front of the plate, 2-2. But the reporter goes, Shohei, what do you think about coming and signing with Seattle? What do you think? I mean, it's an answer I keep coming back to of that's a yes body language thing that I take away. Could be reading into it too much, but it's not a, deadpan, leans into his reporter, and his reporter says he will wait till free agency to make his decisions if it gets to that, but he is right now an Angel and he wants to be an Angel, right? There wasn't some of that in it. It was instead this is kind of exciting. I'm here where they really want me here. Murphy strikes out on a breaking ball right through the zone. A lot like the pitch Kirby threw last inning to get the final hitter of the inning there. Just a gnarly little slider there. So that's what it looked like, at least there. But he's being asked. He's got the look like the cat that ate the canary on his face. And I'll tell you, it wasn't a no. This ball, first pitch swinging, and driven into the gap and deep off the wall out there in center field by Dylan Moore. He's going to get down for a double. Ball got up in the zone. A fastball just got a little high, up almost near Moore's eyes, and he just raked that opposite field. Nice piece of hitting there by Moore. Good level stroke. Moore showing a little bit more pop recently. Had a home run last night. So 1 man down, runner on second, 0-0, top of the 3rd inning. Recent Mariner Cazone is at the plate. Calzone. No, Jose Caballero. Sorry. Jose Caballero up to the plate here. Takes the first pitch strike. Cabby hitting .227, 3 home runs, 21 RBIs. He Really had that hot start to begin things, but it's cooled down over the last couple of months here. That ball fouled off, 0-2. Nitro says, give Ohtani half ownership of the team. Well, I mean, at the $600 million mark, you're kind of getting to that place, aren't you? Eventually get to these prices, that's about what you're hitting. Eventually, maybe they'll just do stock options and the team will be the payment. 0-2 pitch here to Jose. Outside, ball one. Megan Gockroger in the house. How you doing, Megan? It's good to see you. Says, Nitro won't hawk. What's up? I won't hit that 80-game stream, but can't blame you. Yeah, I just can't. I can't watch the baseball brand of baseball I was watching earlier through the season. And it's good they have gotten hot here, but if I've got to sit through 50 games of just trudge to get to them getting hot, like I'll just wait till they're hot then, I guess. And you call me bandwagon, you can. It has been. This ball is hitting the ground and thrown out at first. Moore has got a hold up there at second. And it just gets maddening to lose the same way. This was a problem I had for a lot of years with the Carol Schneider administration, is that they were losing the same way. They were coming up short in just the same fashion. They were making the same mistakes. You can have different things go wrong. You can have mistakes get made and then you clean up those mistakes and then other things pop open, right? Like the holes on a dam where you plug one hole and then another hole pops, you plug the other hole. It's, kind of like the Three Gorges Dam right now. Crawford up the plate now, outside, ball one. And Crawford has been so impressive this year with the bat that he's brought and the consistency, steadiness at the top of the lineup. His patience at the plate. He's been the player that I'm sort of advocating for. You've got to get more of in your lineup. Obviously not Crawford per se, but guys that can get on base and hit a little bit more for average. Let's just go to that base marker on it, Megan says, still stunned after seeing Oppenheimer last night. Couldn't sleep for 7 hours, so it may be a little quiet. No worries, Megan. Hope it was a good movie. Inside, almost hits Crawford there, 2-1. Megan says, what do you think of the moves made a few days ago? I mean, the guys added I don't think are going to be anything big. They could pop into something. I think they're kind of like penny stocks for Dipoto, where he wasn't going to get anything for Seawald. There wasn't a big market of buyers out there, really, period. And if there were buyers, there were more guys looking for hitting than they were looking for pitching. So there was not going to be something he was going to pull in as a really nice haul. The second baseman's got kind of the vibes to me with the size. It's like 5'6", 5'7", something like that. He's a tiny guy. Strike there here now 3-2, and a great indication there with Crawford on a 3-1 pitch. Just you got Julio up on deck. Try to get on base. Try to get Julio on with 2 runners on, especially a pissed off Julio, and takes it, and then now gets a ball 4. And that's where, again, in this lineup, there's too many guys there in that 3-1 pitch who are looking to swing instead of just take the base. If he's going to give you the free bag on it and you can remain patient on it, take it. It's one of the reasons Crawford's having a good year, and he stands out in a lineup of guys that aren't doing that, where you can feel him coming to the plate with an approach and a plan. This brings up Julio now. As angry as I saw him last time up. 2 men out. 0-0 here, top of the third. Dylan Moore on second, Crawford on first. Julio reached on a fielder's choice last inning and then had some strange umpire snafus going on that didn't make a lot of sense as to what was happening. But what he can do here. Ball is outside by an inch or two. Still called a strike by Blue. It was a nice little pitch, though. Had a lot of late movement to it. 0-1. See if Anderson gives him a fastball here. I bet he don't. Oh, he did. He did, and he got away with one. He left one up at the top of the zone, and Julio got one hell of a swing at it. Just could not turn it around. Missed it by that much. Fouled it straight back, but Julio was right on it. Tried to sneak that fastball back. He's coming back, breaking ball here. Sure enough, he was. Julio able to fight it back a little bit, fight it off. Megan says, agreed, totally B, which is why I haven't watched many men's games this year, as it frustrates me so much to enjoy it. Does me too. I don't want to watch sports to be put through a root canal session. That doesn't appeal to me. And I'm not talking about the Mariners winning. It's again not about they've got to win the way I want them to win. So just we're literally talking about a team that Julio gets on top of that pitch and blasts it far and deep. This ball's going back. This ball's carrying to the top of the fence, and it's going to hit off the top of the fence. They're initially calling this a double. It's hard with the sun out there because we've got some weird sunshine angles as to what's going on. But Julio gave that a ride, I guess, right off the top of the fence, and he can't get no love from the umps tonight. Julio can't get no umpire love. Hanging breaking ball, and Julio just twisted it right on the top of the fence. And then it bounced back. That should be a home run. It's been a while since I've seen a top of the fence, or I can't remember how that's ruled. Still, 2 runs are in now. Top of the third here, 2-0. Great job by Julio on a 1-2 pitch. He knows he's getting a breaking ball. He knows that the pitcher tried to sneak a fastball past him earlier in the count, and Julio missed it by this much, almost housing it. So the pitcher's going, okay, I've got some pitches to work with. I'm gonna just roll with this, and the umpires are gonna call it a double. They're angry at Julio for some reason tonight. I don't know what they're mad about. And Julio's asking them. It's like, what did I do to you guys? What do you think I've done to you guys? Stupid padded fences bouncing balls back into play. Eugenio with a weird weak swing there, 0-1. But he knows he's got the breaking ball he can sit on, which makes a breaking ball much easier to hit if you can sit and be kind of looking for it. And if the pitcher then hangs that breaking ball slightly, if you're looking for it, that's when you get yourself into trouble as a pitcher. But I don't blame the pitcher there either, because I would have wet myself after Julio's swing on the fastball and go, okay, no more of those. This ball's batted back 0-2 here with Eugenio. Mariners up 2-0. Garth says, condition of downtown. Didn't you see the All-Star game? The problem got fixed. Did it? I didn't. I haven't been down there recently, so I don't know. We had some people down at the scrimmage. I'll see what they have to say here. And another just strange swing by Eugenio Suarez, kind of the captain of crap at bats for the Mariners this year, where you can't deny 11 straight games in an RBI, and he still shows himself to be as good a clutch hitter as we've got on this team. But he has some swings that are just ungodly bad, where he doesn't seem to be looking for the pitch. He's not tracking the pitch well. Can't really decide if he wants to swing or not. And then his swing is nowhere near where the pitch ends up going. It's a very strange quadruple combination, all kind of flow together into a pile of crap. But yeah, maybe I hope that's the case, Garth. I'll tell you, I'd love to see nothing more than downtown cleaned up and brought back to some level of people ability to go down there and do it. DJ says, Cole Wong got released. He's Wong gone. Wong time, Wong place. Wong trade, Wong signing. What are you going to do? One way or the other, they got to find a different answer there, and it was never going to be Colton. But boy, was that a rough audition. Crazy too about that is it's just people are it's the guy from the Diamondbacks is what everybody says the Mariners should have been in on at the trade deadline. That's the guy we should have got. He would have been your impactful bat. And I keep going to the folks that are like, go get a National League bat, bring him to the American League, and it'll go exactly the same as it's gone when they're in the National League. You guys watch the track record on these guys? No, it won't. No, it won't. Whoever you're looking at the NL, they go from the NL to our stadium, And it's like between the AL, for whatever reason, just being tougher on hitters, and then the fact we play in the pitcher's park, you like knock 20 points off their batting average. A little bit of power. Add the strikeouts up a little bit more. Kirby comes out to the hill here. He's worked through 2 scoreless innings, and he gets a first pitch swing. Nice about Kirby is that because his reputation's gone out around baseball, that he will pump the zone and that he's not looking to mess about. He will get these early swings, and he's going to definitely open the door not only for this year but into the future of being able to get really deep into baseball games as this reputation becomes more cemented, because he will get these quick early outs like that, those first pitch swings. One man down here, top of the third. Mariners up 2-0. Randall Grichuk up to the plate here. Just off the plate, ball. Megan says Oppenheimer was brilliant. Even my brother, who was not easily impressed, said he was stunned. I can't wait to check it out. I'm going to do that one at home myself, Megan. If it's 3 hours, I've long given up the wanting to do the 3 hours in a sea. This ball is hammered to left field, and that is sent on a ride quickly out of the stadium. UPS and FedEx ground on that one. And that will be a home run, 2-1 Mariners. Whew. He just clubbed that thing. I think he hit the bull. You'd think he gets a free steak after that one. But I'm excited to see it, Megan. I really am. The last couple of Nolan films haven't been super. They're like, just, they haven't kind of captured my interest as much as some of his other movies. The Tenant, and then the World War movie where they're on the island thing. Like, both those two, I'm just kind of have a hard time working up interest for. I've turned both of them on. I can't get through either of them. Quick 0-2 count here now. But Oppenheimer, on the other hand, I do want to see. Michael Myers says Mariner games have been exciting all of a sudden the last couple of games. They've gone back into that old timey spirit, as Mr. Niehaus would say, the last about week and a half, haven't they? And that's good to see. I like to see the life of this team. I like to see that whether this amounts to them getting the playoffs or making playoff noise, that they're staying fighting into it. Seawald trade didn't make the team suddenly, quiver and shiver. I like the spirit we've seen from them here. It's encouraging, whatever the results, come from. DJ says, has the late few games we've been winning is because of chaos ball? Well, I mean, it's the home runs clicking in, when the team hits home runs that wins. So that's, it seems like whether we're talking about a game they're scoring 5 runs or 9 runs in, it's a matter of proportion, but it seems to always be on the back of, are they getting a couple of home runs, and if they're not going to score the runs. And if they are, they are. Now, is that chaos ball? I mean, maybe. And Crawford made a great play, backhanding stab, dives forward, comes back up onto his feet, one hops it over to France, who does a great yoga stretch over there. I think I heard his groin pop, but he does gather it up. Quickly strike one here on a breaking ball on the outside corner. 2 men down now. So, yeah, I mean, it's technically chaos ball because it is random and you can't count on it. Boy, nasty pitch there by Kirby through the bottom of the zone. Just had the hitter just kind of flailing at it there, Renifo. 0-2. See how he comes back at him. Does Kirby just pump the zone again here? He wastes one. I like it. Like a changeup outside there. That's his splitter. 1-2. Being a little careful with Renifo. Ooh, Luis looked like he almost went, but we ain't getting no love from the umps tonight. They're punishing us for Julio's outburst. Never show up blue. Never do it. You will bring on the smite of 5 out of shape grown men. Inside fastball, missing in off the plate. Good eye by Luis. Draws this count to 3-2. Garth says, isn't that technically a home run? I thought it was, Garth. What am I missing? This ball is hit on the ground to second base. Caballero up with it, throws it out to there to France. That'll be out number 3. A little bit of damage done. The Angels inch back into a little bit on the home run. 2-1 here through 3 innings of play. I thought that was the way the rule went, as I understood it. So I'm going to have to maybe go back and look up the rule. I got to admit, Garth, I probably could count on my hand the number of times we've had a top of the fence back thing. The tough part about this one, too, is that, like, there's all these different fences in Major League Baseball, so it seems like there's different rules. It's like, well, it hit the scoreboard part of the wall. So if it hits the numeral number, but not the green space between the numeral number and the rest of the scoreboard, it's technically a double. But if it hits the number, then it's a home run. And it's like, what are we doing here? Is this a carnival? Megan says, B for a half asleep. Aussie, can you please explain the breaking ball? Yeah. You're going to tend to have, when you throw a fastball, Megan, you're going to tend to get your fastball on 2 seams of the ball or 4 seams. You got a 2-seam and a 4-seam fastball. So you can spin the ball to where your fingers are going to go over 2 laces, or they're going to go over 4 laces. 4 gives you better control. They both do, the way you hold it will do different things with the ball when it leaves your hand a little bit. Slightly different things, whether it trails away or whether it runs inside. But you're going to have your fingers out like this when you throw the fastball, so you'll have it split, to not over like this where it's too much on the sides of the ball. You're going to be on top of the ball when you throw it. When you go to a curveball, you're going to twist the ball and you're going to go with the seams. So you're going to pick to the outside of the ball, and then you're going to go with the seam. And the way I would throw it is I always threw it with the pointer finger on the actual seam, and then your middle finger on the edge of the seam to the left of it, right? So if you're holding it, you've got the ball like you're holding just like this. So what it does by the ball being, the fat part of the ball kind of out here is you're holding down the seam. What that then does naturally, especially if you really accentuate it, is that when your hand comes over, you snap it, and then that thing gets a turn on it. Teoscar Hernandez first pitch fouls this ball back, but you snap it down, and then that ball gets a turn. So you can start it out here, and it ends up over here because of the natural snap that comes down, because you're not on top of the ball like a fastball. You're on the edge of it. So a breaking ball is basically that you're over onto that side of the ball. Slider, you don't snap it off as much. Slider, you just basically throw it, and like you would a fastball, because it's meant to look a little bit more like a fastball, and then it's going to have a little bit more of a closer RPM to a fastball. But the curveball is going to be a little bit slower, but it's going to have greater movement. Both the curveball and the slider are technically both considered breaking balls. This ball is hit up in the air by Teoscar Hernandez. Easy, lazy fly out to right field for out number 1. So that's the confusing part with it, is slider, curveball, both the same type of thing. But with the curveball, you're almost, think of it like the ball's twisting out of your hand as it's coming down. Whereas the slider, it's still gonna snap off the slider, but it's more of a snap than it's a twist at the release point. Ty France up to the plate now. He was sitting on fastball. Looks like he got fooled there by a changeup. Fouls it back, 0-1. Nitro Hawk says Tennant was about as bad as Wong was for us. It wonged I'm trying to do my it wonged the right movie for me. Nolan's a little bit of a strange cat. He is a really good, he's one of our better filmmakers that exists out there, bar none. I wouldn't take that away from him. But like a lot of great filmmakers, the self-indulgent nature of things can show up a little bit too much. This ball is hit on the line right at first base. This is why they call it the hot corner. And he lines it out for quickly 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning. So, the Tennant thing, every character being the same monotone, expository, component. I'm not going to care if you can hear what people are saying because I'm just going to trust my over bombastic soundtrack and my visuals will tell the story. I mean, that type of stuff. Like, come on, jerk off. Like, your stuff stinks like the rest of us. Get over yourself with that. Cal Raleigh, a little weak swing there through the bottom of the zone. Quickly 0-2 with him. Kind of see a little bit of representation here today, a bit with the lineup, watching it. Suarez has got 2 strikeouts here. Teoscar Hernandez doesn't have 2 strikeouts, but doesn't have 2 good at bats either. Another just flailing swing. Strike 3 by Raleigh. I don't know what he's looking for there. I mean, maybe the pitch is just so nasty, but you just swung at that on the previous pitch. Why wouldn't you look for that and then try to hold up? It seems to look really meaty to him. But this is the issue you have with this lineup, and this is why it's going to be hard to generate runs when you've got this many guys in the lineup that just churn through so many at bats without mounting any type of difficulty in the at bat. Pitcher just kind of blows right through you. Michael says they're playing so much better fundamentally. Watching so many swings at bad pitches gets hard to watch. That was as tough as anything for me through the early part of the year to go back to and watch these games was that there's so many bad swings. And I know pitchers right now are as good as they've ever been. And I think that's a valid thing to say about the situation where these guys are throwing heat and their stuff's got insane movement. And, it's hard as ever for a hitter to hit. And they always say, the toughest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball. And it's never been tougher now. But there also seems like that at bat with Raleigh, Michael, it's like, where is also me getting the feeling of you trying to kind of fight through that rather than leaning into it, I'm like, well, the pitchers are tough. Let me swing full speed every time. Oh, pitchers, I'm 0-2, I'm 1-2. Let me not be looking for any pitch in particular. Let me just swing full swing and close my eyes and see if I hit it. And then every once in a while, the clock, the broken clock that's right twice a day, you actually end up making some solid contact and drive it somewhere because you got some great power. But doesn't mean, like you said, Michael, it ain't tough to watch. Though I do agree with you, though. It has in the last couple of weeks got a little bit better when watching some of these at-bats and this approach. Megan says, no, you have to see it on the big screen. B, I was the same, and there's no way I could see it at home. I didn't see it on I didn't see it on IMAX. It's just tough for me. Even if a movie's good and I'm sitting at home and Ohtani quickly with an 0-1 count here with Kirby, even if I'm sitting at home and or in the theater and it's a really good movie, I just, at 3 hours in, I just start to, I want to stand up. I want to, it's got to be a riveting film for me for 3 hours to get. And this subject matter, though it's really interesting and I'm into it, I also know it's going to be, I also know in Nolan's style, it's like he's not afraid of taking his time. And that's great, but I'm sitting in a theater and feeling my butt cheeks, then I'll just do it, at home. But I get a big screen at home, do the whole thing with the surround sound, I got a buddy's place to go to where you can turn up to 11, get basically just about as close to, IMAX experience, but theater experience as you can get. 1-2 account here to Ohtani. Kirby came back with a breaking ball and got him to swing through it to 1-2, and now throws a fastball nearly over the head of Cal Raleigh or of Tom Murphy. So we got 2-2 here. I think it's Tom back there behind the dish tonight. Inside, ball 3. Kirby being careful with Ohtani. Doesn't want to put the opening runner on base, but he's given up a home run already. Wonder what he comes back with here. 3-2 pitch. Nice breaking ball right on the inside part of the plate there. Fouled back. Good job by Ohtani to keep alive on that pitch. Garth Knight says, Jerry is obsessed with NL hitters. You're not wrong, Garth. And I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I've been watching NL hitters since Kevin Mitchell came here. Oh, my goodness. Ohtani puts a ride on this one, but lines it right at Teoscar Hernandez. He hit it with home run power, but just couldn't get enough lift on the ball. Quickly, one man down. I've seen so many come through this way, and it becomes for me a rule of thumb after that amount of time. Not that there isn't some NL hitters and come to AL and flourish, but it's the rarity. And I certainly wouldn't be looking at them at this point in the same manner of how I might look at AL hitters. Just is what it is with it. Megan, you wonder what Cassell thinks about what? That was certainly a home run. If it goes out, it goes out. What are we talking about here? Top of the fence, back of the wall, deep into the seats. I don't care. I know a home run. And that was a Julio bomb. Just one reason we call him the J-Rod Show. 1-1 pitch here, fouled back by C.J. Cron, who is amidst a 14-game hitting streak where he's hitting .304. Kirby up to 44 pitches for the game here. Be nice to get right through this inning, right through the middle of this Angels lineup, get him turning right through this game. How nice would that be? Megan said you finished the book for a few hours for cinema. Nice. Gar says Tenet was a little too out there for my primitive mind to handle. I'm going to say this too, Garth, and that's a strike three. Nice swinging pitch there, boy. Beautiful pitch there by Kirby. He's dealing tonight. I'm in the same boat. And here's the thing with it. I don't think that Nolan even knows how the damn thing worked. I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube explaining, here's for those of you that aren't smart enough to understand what they were meaning by the true science that's behind the movie Tenet. That still it's still, and I can understand things if I don't really know them. I can understand them. I got a 1-1 count. That was absolute gibberish of a plot, gibberish of a whole central MacGuffin. That whole thing was, give me a break. Give me a break. And some people were like, but I thought this doesn't make any sense. The more you think about it, the less sense it makes rather than the more sense it makes. 1-1 pitch, hit back, foul, 1-2. 2 men out here. Bottom of the fourth inning, Mariners up 2-1 here on the Mariners. George Kirby has pitched pretty flawless little game here to begin things. He's only given up 1 hit so far, but that 1 hit was a home run. Nitro Tenet was about as bad as Wong was for us. Wong it though. It's a Wong movie to see in a theater, I'll tell you that. What did they say? He said they've got to get the device. What? The device? He said they got to get the device. Ball's hit up into the air, foul. Eugenio tracking it down, and he's got a handle on it, and that will be out number 3. So we go down through the first 4 innings with the Seattle Mariners holding on to a 2-1 lead. Garth, I liked Inception. I liked Prestige. I like the old movie, the guy with the memory that can't keep his memory for 3 minutes. I loved Insomnia. I like a lot of the Nolan films. Interstellar. Yeah. You know what I mean? Okay. Megan says, sounds like fast bowling and cricket. Probably pretty similar. Similar dynamics at play. It's all about the seam, because the seam on the release is the last thing, the seam is the last thing that your fingers leave on the ball. So it'll have the greatest impact on the direction where you throw it. Megan says, can't the batter see where the fingers are on the ball and know what is being pitched? If they've got sharp enough eyes, but you would be surprised at actually how short. I think that this is something that doesn't get kind of captured as much clearly on when you're watching the games. You'd be surprised how short it is between that batter's box to the pitching mound. And it's on top of you so quick. By the time you could register, his fingers are on top of the ball's already past you. You can kind of do it instinctually a little bit, but it's the rare hitter in Major League Baseball. You got your Ted Williams types that could do it. Those guys with Megan like 2010 vision. But you're having this much of a second to see the snap come off the ball, their hand come over the top. And some pitchers are really good at hiding their delivery. So, you only get even less time to be able to see what's breaking off and how the hands, leaving the ball. So yeah, you can a little bit, but it's still kind of a bang, bang sort of decision you got to make at the box. The first pitch swinging foul here by Tom Murphy, 0-1. Gar says this Anderson's a trickster, different arm angles, funky deliveries. It's ironic Brandon brought up the carnival with his midway grifter on the hill. He's a dirty carny. dirty carny. Yeah, I don't like the whole double leg kick thing. Like, come on. There's a little bit of like, no, I need my double leg kick thing to lock me in. It's cheesy. It's like that one pitcher that they have who does the whole slow triple quad tap off the mound. And I don't know, will it be 5 taps this time? Will it be 6 taps? Let's throw the effing pitch. Murphy's got himself here a 2-2 count now. Nobody out, top of the 5th inning. And you're right, Garth. He does a lot of he changes the speed of his delivery every pitch, basically. And it makes it tough. You can just see the hitters kind of struggling on the timing. Meg says, I will not hear you say the Wong thing about him, boys. Devon says, hey, y'all, what's happening? What's up, Devo? Gar says, I know I'm lame, but I liked Interstellar. There's parts of Interstellar I really like, and there's just other parts of it But there's some stuff that I do enjoy about it. It's not a bad movie, And Nolan is one of those guys where even if he is putting something bad together, it's going to usually be better than a lot of the other muck that's out there. Like he says, maybe nothing is wrong with him. Maybe it was the wrong time for you to watch the movie. Wrong movie, wrong plot. Wrong director. One too many Wongs for me, Megan. One too many. I can go 5 Wongs. I can't go 6. Dylan Moore steps up to the plate. He smacked himself a double in his last at bat. See if he can give this one a ride here with a 1-0 pitch. Give it a nice healthy swing. Anderson not giving in on the breaking ball, though, gets him to swing right through it. Grass Daniels, have you seen Jose Ramirez KO on Tim Henderson? No, I haven't. I'll have to check that out after the stream, though. Jay says, I need Shohei for a damn hit. He's pitched swung pretty well tonight, Jay. Kirby's pitching him tough. That's the one thing about it tonight is Kirby's pitching him tough. You might have to wait till they get into the bullpen to get some resolution on that one. Moore swings right through that pitch. 1-2, and that's strike 3. That sweeping breaking ball by Anderson has caught the Mariners up. The one that ends up right at the bottom of the zone over the middle of the plate. They have gone right over the top of that pitch all night long. This will bring up Jose Caballero. Jose Cabby. Megan says, she says, I'm sorry, B, but I could understand the science behind Tenet and actually could follow it, and I'm not the brightest bulb in the lights. I don't know, Megan. I think it was a lot of gobbledygook. I think it was all just an excuse for Nolan to find creative ways to go back and forth in scenes. I tried. I still kept walking away and going, nope, still don't make sense. Caballero quickly finds himself here 0-2 after fouling a pitch directly back. Anderson up to 77 pitches. Mariners would probably like to try to get in this Angels bullpen at this point. Yeah, I think they've probably taxed him pretty well through the first couple of games of this series, and Anderson's not pitching too dang shabby here. Gar says Nolan's army will defend him with the passion of the Jim Hall Adams army. Yeah, it's true. This ball is hit up into the air and caught by the first baseman in foul territory. Nice little over-the-shoulder Willie Mays style catch there by the first baseman. That will bring out number 2 with one runner on first here in the top of the 5th, and Crawford steps up to the plate. Croft 0 for 1 here in this game, though. He is 0 for 1 with 2 walks in this game. So what Crawford can maybe do, keep this inning going just a little bit. But yeah, Nolan's got his ardent Nolan supporters down the line on that. And I do like him. I do, but probably feel a little bit better about the earlier part of his catalog than I do about the later part of his catalog. Some directors are like that for me. Memento was great. Yeah, Memento, Insomnia, Prestige. Those are all remote droppers for me. If I'm on this ball's hit on the ground at second base, plucked right up easy over to first base, out number 3. Mariners will maintain a 2-1 lead here as we go to the middle part of the 5th inning. Well-pitched game here by Anderson. He's just kept the Mariner hitters off balance all day. They haven't been able to really lock in on what he's doing. Outside of Julio, when he was able to lock in on what he was doing, nearly sent that ball for a home run. But there's a couple directors like that with me, that just not every director ages like fine wine in some of their product, you know. Nitro says something's wrong with me. I can't stop. Wrong or right? You're right for saying it. Who would want you to stop? Wong Man would ask that of you. The Wong puns will never die. Garth, anyone see that game-ending call, third strike in Minnesota last night on Ketel Marte? That was the Wong call. Wong or not, it's still an L. Nitro, did you see Jose Ramirez versus Tim Anderson? Can't tell who was in the Wong there. Sean, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you in the house. The Wong will never die. B.I. will admit Tenet is a bad movie when you admit Jim Zorn is better than Dave Craig, and since that won't happen, I'm not changing my mind. Hey, fair enough. Some people love themselves the Tenet. I just, if I could stay awake every time I turn it on, I just suddenly needed a nap for some reason. It's quite odd, really. It's quite odd. Are they showing Raleigh? Did he already get out here? No. He's on the bench. All right, bottom of the 5th inning now. Kirby back out on the mound. Gone 4 innings here, 2 strikeouts, no walks. Been his typical self, just pounding the zone. Only 51 pitches through 4 innings. Absolutely fantastic. Like he says, I'm a proud member of the Nolan family army. Hey, I'm at least he's a director of talent. There's some of those armies out there that'll be guys like, the Tim Burton armies out there, and like he makes the same film every time. Why? Yeah, why? DJ says, may the Wong legacy carry on in spirit. The Wong legacy can't carry on because it would be Wong. Wong on so many levels. Wong for the luck problem, Wong for the legacy, Wong for the president it sets. Wong. Only one man can undo the damage that he has caused this season at second base. All right, we got a 1-2 count here on Brandon Drury, who's 0 for 1 this game. Outside, ball 2. Sean Lee's M's making this interesting. Only 2.5 games out of the wild card. They're making it interesting. They've been fun to watch here recently. They've been starting to turn some things on, which has been nice to see, and it's been encouraging to watch with them. I'm liking resiliency is the word I kind of keep coming back to. This ball's on the ground to Caballero at second. He comes up with it and fires it over to Di France for out number 1. But whether they've got a team that's properly constructed to make a championship run, say nothing of a playoff run, they do have a resilient spirit in this young crew that was self-evident last year many different times over. They didn't have a big room for error as the year winded down to get themselves in the playoffs, and yet they did nonetheless. And hopefully, however this team's built going forward, whatever happens of the season going forward, that can continue to be a characteristic that we see of this team. Mickey Moniak up at the plate now with 1-0 count. He is 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the second. Kirby up with it. Nice breaking ball. Just looked even like a couple inches outside, but just sweeping across the plate there. Maybe it kissed the black of the plate as it was coming over. 1-1. Goes back to throw another one, kind of loops it in there just a bit. Megan says, how do you feel about Kubrick or Ridley Scott B? 2 of my all-time favorites. I don't think that Kubrick suffered from that thing that I think a lot of directors do suffer from. This ball's going to be hit back up the middle for a base hit. Only the second hit given up by Kirby here. I think that Kubrick is the unusual guy that is not a guy that faded a little bit with time, or that there was a stale nature to his filmmaking as he went along. That does happen with certain guys. Like Tarantino's one of my all-time favorites, a guy that inspired me at times to write screenplays and stuff with some of his early work. But I do think some of his later work has become a little bit, I don't want to say the word parody of himself for himself, but it's like he's gone ultimate cartoonish in his direction, sort of. And rather than sort of taking it into more of an evolutionary step, as you sort of gain age and grow as a director and a storyteller. So I think, he suffered from that. I don't think Kubrick did. I think Kubrick took his time with his movies and picked his projects carefully and what he wanted to say and what he wanted to make. Kirby this inning having a little bit less strength here on the control. He's missing a little bit now as he goes 2-0 here to Hunter Renfroe. Nice job there by Murphy, kind of stand up and saying, take a breath here, kid. Get yourself re-locked in. Top of the 5th inning, 1 man down. Mariners up 2-1. Runner on first. Kirby comes set. Breaking ball low, 3-0. Kirby kicks at the sand there, kicks at the hill, and not happy with his landing zone. Ridley Scott, though, Megan, though I do love Ridley Scott's work, it certainly is another representation of what I was talking about a little bit. And, Blade Runner. You take any of his early work, swing and a miss on 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He challenged Hunter Renfroe on that one, right up in the top of the zone with that heat, 3-1, and Hunter was swinging. So take anything early Ridley Scott and Alien. Go down the list, Megan. All that stuff. Classics, great. Another 97-mile-an-hour fastball here from Hunter, just cranking it up, going dead center of the plate. Here it is. Hit it if you can. And Renfroe on back-to-back swings has gone right through it. Would he come back with three fastballs in a row? He does. Renfroe hits this up in the air. Julio's up underneath it. How about the guts on Kirby there? 3 straight fastballs, dead red center of the plate. You just can't catch up to him. Julio's letting the fans know out there today in the stadium. I like Julio's energy tonight. He's kind of a little wildin'. So Ridley, yeah. Later on, Ridley, the recent work of Ridley, Megan, it's not there as much for me. And he's another guy who even some of his mid movies can be pretty good. Runner going from first, and Murphy couldn't get the ball out of his glove, so runner will get to second there. But I think Ridley still is been still a capable director. Some of those guys just have to realize that they're not also screenwriters. They're not also, I come up with the story. You tell the story that somebody else comes up with. Because when they have too much control over it, just becomes, the failings show up a little bit more, I think, on point and clarity. But no, Kubrick's outstanding. I love his films. And they'll hold up for a long period of time because of how well he crafted them. All these guys will in their movies, in various points of their catalog. 2-0 here to Randall. Strike, fastball. Kirby's missing a bit of the control this inning, and he's gone back to the fastball as a way to kind of reestablish that control. Always smart as a pitcher. Break ball ain't getting over. Just get back to the fastball. Get back to kind of finding the zone. Then you get back to the curveball. 2-1 count here. High. 3-1. Daniel W. says +1, Tenet sucks. Thank you, Daniel. I'm with it. Nitro, I did not see Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson. It's coming up a bunch on the chat here. I'll check it out after the stream for sure. I'll give you an update after the next stream. Swing and a miss on a breaking ball there. 3-2. Come on, George. Close this one out. Close this one out. I will take a look at it, though. Three and two. Batted foul, tough pitch there. Gar says this obsession Megan has to coerce you into moving Zorn above Craig is unhealthy. I think definitely feels Wong. She won't let that get in the way. Wong or not, she wants her Zorn held over Craig. I think Wang she thinks is that Zorn is better, and I believe she can wear me down eventually. We'll see. This ball is batted foul. 3-2 here to Randall. Hanging tough here. Kirby's been pumping the fastballs. Garza's best work was in 1969, if you catch my drift. This ball is hit right at Eugenio Suarez on a line. Eugenio comes up with it, throws it hard back over to first at France. One hops it. France able to pick it nice. Two nice little plays there made by both Eugenio and France. Eugenio to be on that hot corner and with his quick reactions, stab that ball on the hop, but then runners were pretty fast there, getting to first pretty quickly there. He had to just get that ball out of his hand, throw it fast, throw it hard, and that's a tough one hopper to get. That wasn't one of those hoppers that's way out in front of the first baseman where you can see where it's going. That was kind of one of those late one hoppers to first where France really had to kind of pick it. Great play. Great play. Megan, what's your favorite Kubrick be? Mine is 2001 and Dr. Strangelove. Strangelove's definitely one that's there for me that I like quite a bit. It's probably The Shining for me. I would probably say the Shining and the nature of how he created that film, and disturbing as it is, and he can make some disturbing films, but what he did and how he created that film, and that one's the one to me that probably would be the one that's my favorite. I like those two too, though. I mean, all those are tremendously good films, and still I go back to watching each of them still. What's weird about Kubrick, Megan, is the way I look at a lot of his catalog, and I think it's kind of the testament to the fact that I don't see his movies in the view of there being this ones I hold kind of in higher reference, is that I do kind of almost see them all in the same sort of plane, where it's it's there's ones I probably like more than others, but at the same point in time, it's like they're all kind of classics in their own way. And how he built and how he made them. But he was a great director, whatever matter. Clockwork Orange is a good one too. Nitro says these Wong jokes are going to kill me. Wong, they won't. There's no Wong way that could ever happen. No man's ever been killed by a Wong. And if they have, that was Wong. I'll give you that. If they have, that shouldn't have happened. The Wong outcome. We can only hope to do better. All right, Julio Rodriguez steps up to the plate here now. Top of the sixth inning, Mariners up 2-1. Julio 1 for 2 with a 2-run double. Nearly put it out of the park in his last at bat. Swing and miss there. First pitch here, strike. Anderson's finally off the bump here, which is good for our Mariners as he was giving him some problems. So Leon out onto the hill now. Right-hander comes set. Not sad to see Anderson leave this game. Julio hits this on the line. It looks fair, and it is fair. Julio is going to cruise on in a second base as he continues his hot hitting. They turned him up early on in this game. The fans were getting chirpy on him. The officials were blowing calls right and left, and he's making them pay the price of this temper right now. It's the Wong man to piss off, I'll tell you that. That ball lasered right down the line, tasted a little bit of chalk, on its way into a fan glove for a double. It's a big run there out on second base. The Mariners starting to steer towards a little bit of that time. You can maybe get into the bullpen to shut this thing down. Eugenio Suarez up to the plate. Nobody out. Julio on second. Eugenio gives it a strong swing, but knocks it foul. Garza, so the Pac-12 is no longer essential. I would say how I feel about it. It's all Julio's Wong of Wong tonight. He is a long one. Yeah, the Pac-10, 12, 10, 9, 8, whatever number of teams they're ever eventually going to have when it's all said and done is done. This, I think the Pac-10, 12 shot itself in the foot at the end of the day, and it basically committed seppuku when they did that whole stupid cable deal. Eugenio Suarez has just had some miserable at-bats tonight. Like, every swing he's made tonight, and I know he's got 10 straight games at RBI. Maybe he's going to get one here. He's got a 1-2 count. But my goodness, every time his bat has left his shoulder to swing today, it has been avert your eyes. Okay, what are you looking for now, and he's going to throw you a breaking ball. So get in there and protect. Hit this the other way. Oh, he went fastball high, missed. Goodbye, Eugenio there. He throws the fastball and make sure it's in the play if you're going to try to protect, but let it go. You're looking for breaking ball there. So you come back with fastball again, 2-2. Yeah, probably. He doesn't want to get the 3-2 here. Now I'd come back to fastball 2-2. And then he goes breaking ball. That pitcher had me fooled. Hey, Eugenio flicks it out into center field. Lazy fly ball there that will easily be caught one man down. Nitro Hawk says, what happened to the Pac-12 was Wong. Okay, I'll stop now. Gar says, Julio is Wong. Megan says, 2 Wongs may not make things right, B, but it sure makes us all feel good as M's fans. It does help. It does put a smile on her face. Wong gone puts a big smile on my face. Teoscar Hernandez up now, 0 for 2 with 2 flyouts. They're going to try to pick Julio back off at second base. Ledger says now it's the Pac-4. Sucks being a Wazoo fan. Yeah, it's going to be rough going forward, and I'm sure, there'll be some games that are set up between Wazoo and Washington to make things work in certain ways, but it's the whole situation is just silly, to be honest with you. Another just bad swing by a Mariner batter tonight, as Teoscar just can't seem to decide about halfway into his swing whether he wants to swing or not, and just sort of dribbles the ball down the first base line. Mariner hitters being I can't talk. I just got surprised in the last at-bat, I guess. But Mariners hitters have been just completely fooled tonight up at the plate outside of Julio and Crawford, and that's about it. I'm Dylan Moore. Ball's fouled back, and no surprise here. Teoscar Hernandez quickly finds himself 0-2. Megan says, I know USC are leaving, but I'm sad to see the history and rivalry go. I am too, Megan. It doesn't make me happy to see it happen, and I'm certainly would have loved for the Pac, whatever it would be, to remain what it was, and an institution of the West Coast. And I love the playoff system in college football, but I do long back for the days of the Rose Bowl being the prize for winning the conference. It didn't always be that your season was based on its success or failure of whether or not you were winning national titles. It was kind of like a different thing in college. And I know that it's tremendously popular on the other side of it. I get that, but it does kind of have me wistful a little bit back to that old thing, because there was a history to it. There was a weight to it. And that's gone now that you're not going to get in the Big Ten. It ain't going to ever feel natural. Teoscar Hernandez swings on a 1-2 pitch right through the top of the pitch on a breaking ball. Another strikeout swing in there. What are we out for the day here today? We're 7 Ks deep here through 6 innings. It's just sometimes phenomenal to watch this team have its hitters go up there. These are guys that have maybe been guys that strike out a lot in their career. Ty France comes up, swings at a pitch that's 9 inches off the plate. Like, what are they seeing? Are they all dropping Molly before the game? Is that what we're doing here? Like, what? These guys swinging these pitches, you're like, what are you looking at, man? You ain't near that pitch. It'd be like trying to inside out a pitch in your hands that's out four inches off the plate. And you go, man, the pitch was that nasty, huh? It moved that crazy across the plate. 1-1 count here to Ty France. 2 men out, top of the 6th inning. Swings at another pitch, 5 inches below the zone. Do not have a lot of confidence right now. France has got a good read here on Leon. I guess I'm going to have to call him Leone. He's going to be pitching this nasty. Outside, ball 2. One of the surprising parts about France this year is, last couple of years you watch him, batting average wherever it would be. Sometimes the ball wouldn't get in there, sometimes it would, but the ball would always leave his bat with good, solid contact. This ball batted gently on the ground to second, and he will be thrown out. And this year, the thing that stood out to me about watching him swing and hit is how many balls that just aren't there's not solid contact being put down, And I'm not talking about hitting with power or anything else. Just that used to be just such a hallmark of France's game, and what helped him to get to reasonable batting averages. It's been tough. It's been a tough part. Big Country Larry Scott was terrible. And that handling of the thing, think about Larry if they had handled it to where they had more of a featuring of the Pac-12 on TV. More featuring of Pac-12 on TV leads to better recruiting classes across the board for everybody in that conference. Not to mention featuring your product more often and better, making sure that product can remain and last long. But, we got to get every last dollar of the money deal. We can't go to the big networks. We need to create our own network. It's so stupid on the surface of it. He's got people advising him and all this, just moronically choosing to do that. And this is the price that's paid. That's going to be the basically the fire that ends up burning down the Pac-12 house, in my opinion. But he was bad all the way around too. And Big Country, I love the old college traditions too, man. Keith Jackson, Whoa, Nelly, we've got ourselves a barn burner today between 2 Pac-10 powerhouses. Let's go down and have ourselves one hell of a band. That brings back childhood memories. And you didn't play the Big 12 until you got to the Rose Bowl, and that was only if you won you won your conference. And Yeah, it's gonna miss that a little bit. Paul says, big support for all you do. Thank you, Paul. I'm having a great time, man. I wish I could do some more Mariner Stream stuff, but I gotta the time stay on the football stuff and make sure I'm keeping my stuff cooking up and going good and strong there. But we're gonna have some moments here over this month where I'll be able to cut in here and get a couple Mariner games broadcasted out and stuff too. So I know I won't hit my 80 mark this year, but we'll get a few in here and as much as I possibly can for sure. This ball hit down the line. First pitch swinging. It'll be 0-1. George Kirby still on the hill here. He's gone 5 innings. Only 2 hits. 2 hits. 1 earned run, 2 Ks. It's been his typical efficient self, just pumping the zone. Pumping. Pump up the zone. Pump it up. Megan, you have yourself a good night. I will see you tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow doing the stream on the football side. Sean says pitchers duel tonight. The last 2 games were exciting, though. We do have a pitchers duel tonight for sure. Hitters are a little tired of doing all that swinging the past couple nights. They're having to kind of relax tonight. Chad Wallach up the plate here. We got a 1-2 count on him. High, ball 2. Gar says, Brando, I think that sweet ass David Carradine I sent you arrived today. I'll check. I'll check in with my buddy at his place and see if he's got it. I don't know if I'm going to put that in the background, Garth, on the Seahawks stream, though. That's a strike 3 on a fastball up in the zone there by Kirby. Nice pitch. Just that exploding fastball of his, and that will be out number 1. But thank you for sending it to me. I'll put it somewhere up in my house. Nitro, UCLA winning the Big Ten would sound so wrong. So no, you had Nitro, you dropped the ball there. You've been hitting the Wong. You've been hitting the Wongs out of the park all night, and then you got the perfect opportunity to drop a Wong, and you put wrong in there. My man. My guy, you had the shot. You had to feel like De Niro in Copland. You had your shot and you blew it. Yeah, I'm not. It's not going to make sense to me. Can the Huskies win the Big Ten? Yeah, I'm already waiting for that thumbnail. No, I don't. It's not going to seem right to me. And it's just at the end of the day, college for really what they need to do is just do away with all of the conferences at this point, in my opinion. Let the teams decide if they want to have teams they play on a yearly basis and let them all interdecide it. And just let it be the chaos that it's already heading towards. Might as well, right? In for a penny, in for a pound. And it's not like it's going in the other direction here. Luis Renifo is in a 1-2 count here with 1 man down. Mariners up 2-1, bottom of the 6th inning. Kirby pitching himself one hell of a gem. That ball's fouled back. Remains 1-2. Nitro says UCLA winning the Big Ten would sound so I have the self-control not to say it. I mean, you had to use it there though. It needed it. It's almost like a painting that's a little ajar on the wall now. Nitro, you know what I mean? It's not balanced. That ball's hit up the middle there. Nice piece of hitting by Luis for a base hit without number 1. Nice job. We could be heading to, and boy, that's not how you like to do it here with Shohei, is it? You got a runner on, you're up by 1. Ohtani up to the plate. This is where I legit would still, if I'm in Kirby's ear on this, maybe we walk him. I mean, this is the guy, there's no Trout in this lineup. I know you're putting runners on first and second. You're bringing up ooh. Ohtani just hit that right off the instep of his shoe, and he just stands still for a second. But I'd consider it. I know that brings the winning run up to the plate then at that point. And Ohtani kind of limping around a little bit, saying, give me a second here. This is why those guys wear that armor up on their legs. Because when it hits, it hurts. Oh, he took that right off the leg, too. That's just right on the bone there. That doesn't feel good. 0-1 count here to Shohei. Kirby comes set. Runner on first. Swing and a miss. Kirby up there challenging him like Matt Brash last night. These boys flirting with danger, but they're fearless. Going right with the fastball to the top of the zone. Ohtani has crushed those pitches to the back of ballparks everywhere. And these Mariner pitchers are not scared to do it. And he throws a breaking ball. Looks like he got him to swing. And indeed, he did on a nasty 0-2 breaking ball in the dirt. Gets Ohtani to check swing. Strike three. Ohtani limping back to the bench there, both spiritually and physically. He definitely went. And that's a wonderful pitch by Kirby. I love seeing what he's doing here this inning so far. 2 men down, bottom of the 6th. Let's see if he can close this inning off. CJ Cron up to the plate. Swing and a miss. 95 on the black. Outside corner. Love it. Ethan Crone says, hey, the Crow's Nest is back. Back and badder than ever, man. Gar says, no need to put the background to David Carradine on a Seahawks channel would seem... Exactly. I don't know if it would... people would... I'd probably... they'd just be constantly asking, why do you have a David Carradine picture behind you? Kirby's quickly got CJ Cron here in an 0-2 count with 2 men down. Throw another one of those nasty curveballs down the dirt here. Or is he just not going to mess about? Come right back at the fastball. Comes back with the fastball. And Cron was expecting the curveball. He just barely able to kind of nick it into the foul territory on that one. He had him fooled. And Cron looking at him like, man, this guy just threw me an 0-2 fastball. Kirby's still pumping that up at 98 miles an hour here. Late into the 6th inning. Coming set now, 0-2. 90th pitch from George Kirby. Ball's hit foul. Nitro Hawk says, my character development is going the wrong way. The wrong way or the right way? Nitro says, I built that sentence around the word not to say it. It's starting to feel wrong. It was wrong. You can't do that to us. It's like we're waiting for the punchline. It never arrives. Kirby not messing about here. 0-2. He's still hammering that zone. He doesn't like to waste pitches. And he doesn't here. Gets a strike 3. Runner's going. Tom Murphy throws it into center field, but it don't matter because that is out number 3, and the Mariners maintain a lead. George Kirby, one of the best games pitched of the year, no doubt about it. Puts 6 innings in the books, 3 mere hits, 1 run, no walks. Absolutely showing you why he is going to be one of the bedrocks of this rotation as we go forward. Eden says, by the way, Brando sent you my play-by-play of the mock game if you want to use it or not. If it on your stream tomorrow, sent you to your email. Well, thank you for sending it, Ethan. Yeah, I can use it, man. I need, I'll tell you, the Seattle reporters didn't do a lot of, they kind of dropped the ball on some of this, is that people in the stadium weren't giving a lot out. I can't find a lot of videos from the game. I can't find any videos of the game. So I got to do some scrounging tonight to kind of put some stuff together for tomorrow's show. But yes, please do send it. And I'd love to know a little bit more about what happened in the game outside of kind of what I can see on the peripheral. Big Country says, Kirby has been great tonight. Sometimes it feels like he's our best pitcher. It was interesting to note is that both him and just looking at some of the stats and where the Mariners were at for the season so far right now, him and Luis Castillo were basically at the same spot coming into tonight as far as their WAR goes. And he'll be a little bit better on that than after tonight, be better than Luis. So, I mean, technically speaking, Big Country, the stats back you up in your assessment of that. And I think he has to my eyes too. He's been the most consistent. Luis has definitely been up and down. And when he's dominant, he's dominant. And when he's not on, he's really not on. And he's had a cold streak for a good at least month and a half of the season too as Luis, which has been a little bit disappointing. So I think you're right. I think you're right. Tremendous about him too is that he's your top of the rotation power pitcher who just, is not going to, sit there and nibble or play around. He's just what you want as a pitcher with that type, where he's just going to go after you and make you beat him. And I love that about the kid. Not to mention that he finds a way at times to be very pinpoint with his control, despite the fact he's a power pitcher. Cal Raleigh up to the plate now. He's going to switch over to the left-handed side in this game. He's had some bad right-handed bats, so this might be a good thing for him through this situation. Raleigh up to the plate here with 2 strikeouts on the day. 2 bad bats. Him and Eugenio Suarez have had a tough game for both those two guys. Raleigh hitting .229 with 18 big bombs on the year. I kind of hoped he was going to take a bigger of a step forward this year at the plate. I'm never expecting this guy to be a 280, 290 hitter. Big swing there and foul back. But certainly you'd like to see him get up a little bit more higher over the 200 mark. 250 with around the 30 bomb mark. You go, okay, that's perfectly great to get that behind. For a guy behind the dish who gives you plus defense too. 2-1 here with Raleigh now. Time. Three and one. The pitcher took too long there. Couldn't figure out what he wanted to throw, I guess. So they will add a ball to the account. High, ball 4, and that costs Leon as he's going to let the lead runner get on base here. I don't think Scott Service here would pinch run from quite this early. Tom Murphy's going to come up to the plate now. Murphy catching today. First pitch swing, fouls it back. Sector 7 says, oh, hey, Mariners starting to put something together. Decent time to come back. Yeah, man, I thought it was a good time to come back and say what's up. It's been a while, and I've been meaning to do more of this, stuff this year. I just didn't have a chance to get to it. But we'll try to fit a few more of these in throughout the course of the year here, and definitely fit it in as I kind of can. A little bit. Little bit. But I like to see them showing a little bit of bouncing back, and they've been a little bit more funner to watch as of recent. Oh, 2 count here to Tom Murphy. Nobody out. He hits it on the ground. Up the middle. Looks like a double play ball. And it will be. That's quickly 2 down here in the top of the 7th inning. Murphy just trying to protect there at the plate. Down 0-2. Tries to get the bat on the ball and just knocks it very softly there into shortstop. Cleans it up quickly, easily. Slow-footed catcher you're not worried about there, so quickly 2 down. Ethan says they posted a great catch by DK, but not many know that the play before he was wide open and dropped it. Things like that I have in my notes. Fantastic, Ethan. Thank you for sending that my way, man. It'll help out for the show tomorrow for sure. And I will definitely look through it. Breaking ball here to Dylan Moore to start the at-bat. Looked a little bit low, but the umpire is going to give it to him because he's got a dinner date. It's little known, the umpire's been secretly in a pen pal relationship long term. He's in New York, she's in Anaheim. And she said, you can come over tonight. She calls him Blue. It's a little weird, I know. She said, you can come over tonight, Blue, but the game's got to be done by 8:45. You need to be here by 9. So he's widening his zone so he can widen his zone. 0-2 count here to Dylan Moore. High. 1-2. Guess that was a little too far outside the zone for the ump there. Mm. 1-2 count here with Dylan. What a Dylan bomb. A little base hit out into left field. Moore continues to put some real solid contact on the ball as of recent, coming off a home run last night. Swatted a double earlier in this game and Now gets a nice level base hit out into left field here with 2 men down. Very nice. Very, very nice. Nitro says, what's my top 3 superhero movies? I think you got to put Iron Man on there because it certainly set the trend and set up that whole Marvel universe in motion. You know, none of that really probably comes as much into being if he's not doing what he did in that particular movie. I would probably say... Mm-hmm. 2-1 count here to Caballero. I'd probably put Superman, Christopher Reeve style. Another movie where, you know, that movie, they use tropes from that movie to this day. And so you watch and you go, oh, these are all familiar to me a little bit, but like they kind of set some of the trend with that and how they had to be creative too. They didn't have CGI to lean to back then. But Richard Donner's also a real underrated director in movie history. Caballero's got himself into an 0-2 count here on another bad call by the umpire. I'm telling you, he's got himself a hot date at 9 o'clock. There's no other explanation. That thing was 3 inches inside. I hope she's worth it, Blue. I hope she's worth it. 0-2 and defensive swing there by Caballero. He paired that away like he was swinging in a fencing match. So I would go with my third one would be probably... I'm probably forgetting one. Maybe... I don't know. Logan? Tim Burton's original Batman? Trying to go through my mind and think what's stood out as of recent. I think I'll go with those. I'll do those. Oh, Dylan Moore almost got picked off. That was close. Holy succotash. Hanella, I said Hanella picked him off. Caballero, 0-2 count, 0-2 in the game. High, ball 1. Oh, The Dark Knight. Yeah, let me knock off Tim Burton's for The Dark Knight. That's a better movie. I'll go with that one. 1-2 count here. See what Jose's got. Another defensive swing. Foul. Sector 7 says, I'm back to watch an illegal stream since my VPN no longer gets past MLB TV. So half the time I'm stuck with other teams' commentators. Oh, Lordy, man. Yeah, MLB TV thing is so dumb. And we've seen this with football for years too, right, Sector 7? I mean, they just finally have gotten this thing figured out with YouTube where, you know, you're going to be able to get it through that to watch games if you're out of market, which is good by them. But there were problems with that too, or we're worried about there being problems with that as far as there being like a 45-second delay and the app not working properly at times. So I don't know why these sports, you know, can't figure out that they need to get that part right in this modern era, that's their bread and butter. That's where it's all based upon, you know, so much of what they can drive from their revenue if they can get that part right. And people know it works and works good. But I mean, MLB could have gotten it for me through the last couple of years if they just made it clear like that with the whole, you're in the market, but you're not. So you need to watch it on this or watch it on that. Caballero looked like he might have held up his swing, but that umpire there, he's trying to get out of this house, calls it a strike 3. So we're going to go into the middle of the 7th. The Mariners up 2-1, making a little bit of noise that inning, but not able to make enough noise that inning. I'll be right back, folks. Bear with me, please. All righty, we got quickly one man down here. Kirby continues to fire along, and they're going to let him roll, which I love this by service, by the way. Breaking ball, top of the zone. There's a thought, I think, from the analytic folks here who will tell you, you got him 94 pitches here. You're through the lineup so many times. Time to go bring the bullpen in here in the 7th. I like this, though. And ball hit out to right field. Teoscar Hernandez with the catch. And this is one of those spots where I don't like the analytic folks on this, because this is the backbone you create in a pitcher going forward. This is the fortitude that you build in a pitcher going forward. You have a one-run game, one mistake in this game, one bad pitch in this game. You've got to be on your P's and Q's. You've pitched a brilliant game. You find yourself 6 2/3 innings deep into this, as Kirby does right now. Do you look to call upon your bullpen? Do you look to them to kind of finish and save your day? Saying, this is my game. I'm taking this. And that ball is hammered right out to Teoscar Hernandez for the final out of the inning. And that is 1, 2, 3 so fast I blinked my eyes and it was gone. That is fantastic. I love it, though. I love Service trusting him in that situation, not just going to the bullpen because he feels he has to, because that's what the analytics will tell you to do there. The kid's dealing. The kid's been strong in recent innings. He doesn't look like he's kind of failing or slowing down here at this point in the game. Roll with this kid. Roll with what he's doing. And fantastic. What a beautifully, beautifully pitched game there by George Kirby here. 7 innings, only 3 hits, 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts. Really the home run, the only really true blemish today on the game for him. But wow, just fantastic. And coming after guys, this kid just, to be a pitcher that's a power pitcher who doesn't do what a lot of power pitchers do, which is that nibbling stuff, which is a tendency because you can get away with it. So many hitters are going to give bad swings because they know they have to start their swinging motion a little bit earlier than they would against a pitcher that can't throw as hard as you. So there's a little bit of the tendency to go, Logan Gilbert does this a little bit to me, where it's a little bit too much of the nibbling, a little bit too much of, can I get him to swing out of the zone? And Gilbert's going to be in there and I'm going to pump the zone. I'm going to keep this game going. And this is going to allow him at times, not just now, but into the future, to get really deep into baseball games and help preserve your bullpen on top of all that it provides, having a top of the rotation pitcher that is as good as he is, of course. It's good to see, though. Daniel says, I went to the Seahawks scrimmage. Was nice. Matt Landers is kind of trash. He has 0 moves. I saw him get locked up so many times and then stop moving his feet. Just big for nothing. Oh, that's unfortunate to hear, Daniel. Luckily, Bobo came in and made a catch, which was good. We do have Derek Young, it sounds like, potentially flirting with a little bit of the sports hernia situation, which can knock a guy out for a good 6-7 weeks. So that does open a little bit more of a door for Landers or Bobo to make the roster, especially with Eskridge having his issues. But that's tough to hear, Daniel. I'll tell you, that's the one issue you do look at him when you watch him on tape is he's not great getting lateral off the line of scrimmage with his releases. And so he sometimes has to kind of find another creative approach to getting past the guy at the line. And if he can't, he can get pressed to death. Certainly is something that goes back to him with college. Nitro Hawks is the Dark Knight, leads us back to Christopher Nolan. We come full circle, man. He says, Caballero, what was that? That was a tough at bat. Hey, then why was Kirby coming back out? That's that fortitude you're building in the pitcher. He's not 100 pitches. He's pitching strong. He doesn't look stamming it out. Crawford, first pitch swing. He sends this relatively deep out into center field, but that will be a quick out number 1 here. I think in that moment, you let him go. I don't know if I'm to the place where Sean is, that you let him pitch the whole game here now. But, let him get through that 7th inning if he's still going strong like he was. And why not, I might get to the point here where I start to think next inning going bullpen at that point. But the analytics would tell you, like you're asking Ethan, to go 7th inning, he needs to go now. He's around 100 pitches. He's gone through the lineup so many times. Take him out. Julio Rodriguez steps up to the plate now. He is 2 for 3 with 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. Just missed a home run by about 2.5 inches. Maybe another inch on that wall, and it bounces the other way. They got Julio fired up to start this game. Swings through the bottom there, 1-1. Spectre says, what is it with the dang knee sprain I heard about? What is up with our backs? I mean, this Lynch curse is for real. I'm going into the season with low expectations for the run game. It's a real thing, Spectre, man. I don't know, A swing, strike. 2 breaking pitches here to Julio gave him some issues there. One and two. I don't know, man. It's a wild thing. We're gonna have to get out there with the chicken and get the chicken's head off and get this curse undone. That's all I can say. 1-2 pitch here. Tries to get Julio to swing at another breaking ball far outside. A little too far. He got Jose nibbling, but he didn't get or Julio nibbling, but he didn't get him fully on biting there. But hopefully with McIntosh, it's not too bad of a sprain. Sprain can mean so many things. It's usually I go to MCL on that Spectre 7. And if it's MCL, you can be back on that 5 to 6 weeks. This pitch way inside, just misses hitting Julio. He's drawn this count to a 3-2 count now. Nice job. D-Man says you can't use your bullpen every night. No, you can, D-Man. If you got a pitcher that's rolling like he is there, stay with it. This ball batted deep in the hole of the shortstop. He's up with it. Was going to take a tremendous play to get to Julio. Pulls the first baseman off the bag. Julio able to beat it out for his 3rd hit of the night. Nicely done. Crone doesn't have that Ty France yoga stretch, man. You're going to be a first baseman. I need that yoga stretch. I could do it. I wasn't even a real stretchy guy. Look how casual, though. You see how he's so casual, Crone is there? Your back foot needs to go to the base, touching the base, and then you Jean-Claude Van Damme that thing. You know, you slide out and then you slide to the ball with the foot. And then by the time the ball is, you're at maximum length out, but you don't slide off the bag to come to the ball at that point. And if this does stand up as they're going to challenge this play and take another look at it, that will really come down to Crone's lack of a good stretch there at first. Don't like seeing that. My infielder would be very mad at me, and rightfully so, if I did a weak-ass stretch like that. But hopefully 6 weeks is at least when we get him back. And, the beyond this thing, we got to also build in with this Sector 7 and keep in mind, I think, about this going forward in regard to the running back position is beast mode curse or not, we need to build it up every year. You know, it needs to be something that we don't ever look at like we can get by with the one guy, and that's enough. It will never be enough. Are they going to call this out? They might change this one. Boy, it's a bang play. And they're going to give it to Julio. So Julio continues his hot hitting trend. If I'm not mistaken, he's got his average up right now, 255. I think this is as high as it's been all season long, if I'm not mistaken. So fantastic development to have Julio rolling like he is. Sean says, I hate the pitch count crap. I do too, man. I do too. I understand to use things as a general rule, but it becomes like the Bible for these coaches. And what it does is it really just takes them out of coaching. You know, it takes them out of the feel of the game, takes them out of what used to be a necessity for a coach to have that feel built in and understanding and not just be leaning on the numbers guys to tell you what to do. And you feel Kirby in this game, and he feels in control. He feels on point. He doesn't feel like he's wavering. He had a little bit of the control through the middle part of this game where it was a little bit dodgy for a minute, but he reestablished it with the fastball, found his way there. I love seeing him go through the 7th there in that case. I think with a 1-run game into the 8th, you do need to want to go to your top 2 guys in the bullpen. You're set up, you're closed, but through the 7th, get him rolling through it. Let him roll through it if he's under 100 pitches. Eugenio Suarez up the plate. He's 0 for 3 in this game. 10 straight games with an RBI. Looking to extend that here. Maybe, boy, if he could just hit a home run, give us some breathing space, we can send Kirby back out for the 8th inning. Low, ball 2. Two-one pitch here to Eugenio low. Good eye there. That's it, Eugenio. See what happens when you show some patience at the plate from time to time. Pitchers know to throw out of the zone with him. They know he's going to be swinging at everything. Gets himself to a 3-2 count now. Now you can sit dead red fastball. Oh, he got it too. He looked like he was on it. It was a well thrown fastball right on the lower inner part of the plate. So strike, good pitch by Soriano there. Eugenio was looking for it though with the swing. He was right out in front on that one. 3-2. Low, ball 4. Great at bat by Eugenio Suarez. If he could put more of those together, he would so help his batting average out tremendously. This will put 2 runners on, though. We're dancing. We are dancing. Ethan says, let Kirby stay out until he either loses control or gives up another hit. I'm all right. Well, you can sign me up for it. Megan says, that sounds so bad, B. Gar says, Brando, if the David Carradine photo needs to be sacrificed in order to assist with the health of the Seahawks backfield, I understand. It may be at this point, Garth. All options are on the table. When we're in this kind of state, there is... You cannot say no to anything at that point. Everything needs to be considered. We are in a DEFCON 4 situation with the running back position. Teoscar Hernandez up to the plate now, takes the first pitch inside, breaking ball 1. Megan says, getting my teal Ichiro jersey soon. Nice. That'd be a nice jersey. The FYI coach, Blues is also the nickname of Kraken's head coach, Dave Haskell. Blue is just what you call an umpire in baseball. Back inside, Soriano struggling to find a little bit of his location here this inning. He's missed twice really heavily inside to Teoscar Hernandez. And Hernandez is a guy where you give him in a good, much like Eugenio, those guys spend so many counts behind the 8 ball and 0-2, 1-2. You get them out ahead in counts and they got an opportunity to kind of free swing through there. They can get a little more, way more deadlier. Soriano able to get a fastball over here for a 2-1 count. He got a good pitch there. It was coming in with some flames on the back of it, 99 miles an hour. The Oscar put a good swing, but just was only able to foul it back. So 2-2, 1 man down. Runners on first and second. Mariners up 2-1 here in the top of the 8th inning. Breaking ball. And he fooled Teoscar on the pitch. Managed to put up just enough bat on the ball to get it out of play. Skylar Thomas says, I love me some Matt Brash, but I'm going to need to get a prescription for Lipitor or something if he's going to be our regular closer. I'm not complaining, though. The Houdini factor is always going to thrill. It also goes to that historical traditions for the position, right, Skylar? You know, the wild thing of the 80s, you know, that meme, which, you know, was born out of the guy that throws it. And Teoscar Hernandez, a weak swing, strike 3. It's neck and neck this year for who had the most at-bats where you're just like, what is going on? Or the most weakest swings on third strike swings you see across the league at times between him and Eugenio Suarez. But yeah, I mean, Brash definitely could stand to clean up the control stuff. But it does go to historical norms where there have been guys through years. I mean, we've had guys through here from your Heathcliff Slocums to your Bobby Ayalas. And this ball hit on laser down the line. Foul by Ty France. Goodness, just missed it on that one. He was all over that pitch. That looked like trouble in a good way. But so it does kind of fit. And maybe that can be something that he starts to lock down and secures up a little bit better. He's got tremendous stuff. And I'll tell you that fastball he threw Ohtani top of the zone, the balls to do that. Pretty incredible. Inside, ball 1. Ethan says, I just hit a walk-off home run in Major League The Show. Nice. I'm waiting for some of the Madden. I'm going to go check the Madden reviews out on that franchise mode this year and see if they fix that. France with a great piece of hitting. Inside out, swing bashed out to right field. Julio steaming on in. And it now looks like Eugenio is going to get caught in the rundown, but the Mariners are going to manage to add a pylon run 3-1. That will do. Eugenio was trying to stretch that out to a triple, thinking they were going to try to throw Julio home out at the plate, and instead they went at third, had him by a mile. But nonetheless, great piece of hitting by Ty France. Opposite field base hit there, just went with the pitch. That's a little bit more akin to what we saw from France in the last couple of years, where get the meat of the bat on the baseball. And you will You will provide hard contact, and good things happen when you do that, especially when you have a nice level swing like Ty France does. But that is a big run here. 3-1. 3-1 as it stands right now. As we go now into the bottom of the 8th inning, we're going to have the bottom 3 of the order up for the Angels. Ohtani will come up one more time. So, boy, if you have to reach to that point, you'd love to get to that state with nobody on base if you do. Ty Francula is right, man. Insurance runs are very good. Skyler says Brash is definitely not lacking in the Coyotes department. No, it's a wonder he's able to get out on the mound with those stones weighting him down from the front. Gar says, is Teoscar going to get paid after the season? He's got to heat up. Come on, Teo. I mean, he could make himself a lot of money if he could round the back end of this year out. For a while, he's not hitting great right now as it stands, 241. If he finished out this season, pushing his average up into a 255 state, getting up to around where Julio's at, for instance, which you put a good run of 45 days together, you can build yourself up 13, 14 points on your batting average. He can go make himself some money, especially if there's some power that comes with that bumping himself up. But if he ends up the season where he's landing right now, no, there's not going to be much of a market for him. Maybe he goes back to the Blue Jays on some low-end deal and, he's in as a rotation guy, a rotational outfielder there for him. But it's a little bit where I was expecting a better year for him where he's not been necessarily paid here. He's going into a free agent year. There's something to prove. Guys usually, are performing at their best and strongest when that is the case. But he does seem to be a guy, too, with his swing style, and he is more of a pull hitter. He can hit some the opposite way, but he really is more pull. Maybe not the best kind of hitter for the ballpark. It does look like that will be the end of George Kirby's day. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. He was the story tonight. It's not been the offense, that's for sure, with their 6 meager hits. It's been Kirby and what he did here in this game. Absolutely taking his steps forward this year as a starting pitcher in this rotation, getting his ERA now down to 3.32. Boy, as he looks good. And Matt Brash will take the hill here for Seattle, starting off with a breaking ball. First pitch, strike 1 here to Renfroe. Renfroe 0 for 2 in this game. Brash can hold it down for probably Munoz in the 9th. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Big Country says, I don't know. We have so many high strikeouts, guys, as it is. It is. He's not going to be signed here, though. I'll tell you that, Garth. I don't see them bringing him back here. They're going to look to, I think, start to find hitters and constructing a lineup that's going to be a little bit more akin to what's needed for the stadium they play in. And they just, you can afford some of these hitters in this lineup, but not this many. It's too much. You can have half your lineup or more than half your lineup at times of guys that just strike out at league high rates. Brash has got a 1-2 count here to Hunter Renfroe, who has 2 flyouts in this game. One and 2. Outside, ball 2. Come on. You guys were mentioning about Brash. Let's not opening batter Brash get 3-2, okay? Come on. 100 miles an hour at the bottom of the zone, batted foul. Mariners up 3-1, bottom of the 8th. Nobody out. Batted foul again. Nice job by Renfroe there. 2 tough pitches by Brash, and he fought him off. Props to him there. It ain't easy. Two pitch here. Foul back again. Brash got that one up a little bit. More in the wheelhouse. Renfroe just couldn't do much with it, only able to foul it back. Two count. 3-2. Holy goodness. Brash with his 55th relief appearance right now. That's the most in Major League Baseball. He's been a go-to guy for the Mariners pen. 3-2 pitch. Hit on the ground, base hit out to right field. Good piece of hitting by Renfroe. More than that's bad pitching by Brash. He really put some tough pitches out there, including that final one that was out away from the plate. Not a lot that he was going to be able to do with that pitch, and still he found a way to hit it hard into the place where the fielders weren't. Gar says, Brando, I know you often reference T-Mobile, and it makes sense that T.O. is a Rogers center bat. Outside of Shohei, who's a dream scenario bat for T-Mobile? Ooh, good question. Let me look up my names here. 1-0 count here. 2-0 count here to Randall Grischuk. Tom Murphy's going to take a second to go talk with Brash. Go, hey, we're at the bottom of the lineup, Brash. We're at the bottom of the lineup. Bottom of the lineup. It's a good question, Garth. Ball batted up the middle. Great play by Ty Crawford, who flicks it out of his glove back to second base for the feed, then back over to first. Crawford made that look easy, and that play is not. He is diving down to a knee, picking a tough hop up off the ground, sliding, then flicks it, not even doing a transfer of glove to hand. He just flips it from his glove to Caballero over there at second base to get the runner in time and then give Caballero enough time to then feed back over to France. Tremendous play where Crawford shows you that gold glove-like ability over there at shortstop. Fantastic play by Crawford. 2 men quickly out now here in the 8th. That ball gets through, and this is not looking good as we're just about to turn over to the top of the lineup for the Angels. The play of the game so far there by Crawford. Woo, let's go. And Brash shows you he's pumped up by it, comes back with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball right on the black to show you show his love back to Crawford on that one. Skylar Christian Yelich is definitely one that I was kind of starting to lean towards a little bit in my mind, of saying maybe that. And then Brash comes right back with a breaking ball on the outside part of the plate for 0-2. And I don't blame Matt Thias for looking to the dugout saying, what am I supposed to do with that? He hits me on the black with 100, comes back on the next pitch with the breaking ball right back on the black. I wouldn't have done anything with it as well. 0-2 count here. Brash can get through this inning. Comes set. Outside breaking ball misses 1-2. Big Country says Cody Ballinger. These are all good suggestions. All very good suggestions. I want the one with the name. I'm going through my list on this because I want the answer to this question. I want the right one that's got the right age, you know. I don't want to be getting no guy like 32 that'd be like, you know, Nolan Ariano from St. Louis. We got to get a guy. I mean, Yellich's good. He's 31. We got to go younger than that. I like it. I'm not saying I'm against it if that was who we brought in. You could sign me up for it. But I'm going to look for the little bit of the younger upside-ish guy maybe. I'm thinking about it. Ball hit on the ground. Out to Caballero. He's up with it. Walks it over to Ty France, and he will underhand to him for out number 3. So an absolute sensational play by Ty Crawford to help turn a double play, get Brash out of potential trouble, turn this back over now to the top of the 9th inning, where the Mariners will maintain a 2-run lead. I get to pick anybody now by Garth's question. And I'll tell you what, man, there's kind of a draw for a guy like a Corbin Carroll. You know, a guy that's really young, if you're going to go look for a guy. I mean, some of the names that have been mentioned in the chat are not bad names to mention at all, but, you know, I might still go for a Juan Soto or Corbin Carroll. You know, I'd look for those young guys with still a little bit of the upside if I'm not going for Shohei. I think I'll lean into that direction for my answer. There's some good names, but I'll go with that. Yeah, final answer. Final answer, one of those two. I'm going to trust Carroll's going to be good for a while. He's only 22 years old. Skyler says, yeah, the dimensions of the stadium don't justify lazy swings of balls that are a foot out of the strike zone. Love Tio, though. Good vibes, baby. Good vibes, Skyler. And, I mean, same thing with Eugenio. You know, it's kind of tough with both these two guys because it's not that they're bad players. I mean, Colton Wong was a... That's why we go, holy hell, you've got nothing to offer this team here. These guys have helped in certain ways. But it's not their fault that they've been put to the team in the way they have. And I think some of why you have a Suarez or a Teoscar for the good and the bad they give you is because when Dipoto does look at the situation of improving this offense, he's having to manufacture this. He's having to look from the outside in order to find guys that will foot the bill. You have Raleigh and Julio that are really your only internal guys that have developed to provide any kind of consistent sticks up at the plate. And Raleigh steps up right now, swinging at a pitch 3 inches off the plate and yanking it too, not trying to go with it. Come on, buddy. So that's made it hard. You know, you've done a great job in developing these starting pitchers and bullpen guys and getting the arms up all the way through and consistently through, but you have not been able to get the hitting development to come along with it. And so now you're stretched to go find it on the open market. And the problem with that, of course, becomes then, and quickly Raleigh's 0-2 here. The problem with that then becomes that hitting has become a premium more than pitching has. And every team's looking for hitting. And so if you've got it, people are going to pay the price to get it. And it's going to cost maximum price to pull it in. And Dipoto's tried to find more value in his leanings, and it just hasn't worked. But one place he can help himself, and I would really advise him to go back and take a page out of that 2001 Mariner team, because you can go back and take that as a blueprint that you can apply to this team in the way you look to build it going into the future. And that's more about now finding, zero weak links in your lineup. Maybe not having a ton of guys hitting 320, 330, maybe not having a ton of guys hitting 30 bombs a year, but you've got nobody that's a weak link in the lineup who's hitting around the Mendoza line with no power and who's striking out constantly, which is, there's always like 2 or 3 of those guys in the lineup the past 2 years, it seems like. Aspire for that. And if you do, you'll get more consistent production, more consistent run production, while the pitching will maintain where it's been. Raleigh, strike 3, no shockers, swinging at a pitch 2 inches low. I don't even know if that was over the plate. Tough night for Raleigh up at the dish here. No doubt about that. Just a tough night for him up at the dish. Did get one walk, give him that, but yeesh. But you construct the lineup in that way. And you're going to beat those teams when they come into when they come in, and Murphy gives us a ride. Far out foul, though. When you get those teams that are home run based themselves in that manner, and you're built like you are in your park, that's how you can dominate your park. That's how you can win beyond just the majority of your games in your own ballpark. You can be far and away that, because you're built to make it work there, whereas most teams probably aren't. Though I will say, baseball is going back now as we reach further and deeper into the post-steroid era, into the direction of getting more about athleticism, more about speed, more about defense at the forefront. So that is a little bit more of the nature of the sport now than it was 10 years ago. Murphy hits this hard right out into left field, and it drops on in for a base hit. One man down here in the top of the inning. Mariners up 3-1. Skyler says Tony Gwynn Jr. Sean Lee says Ohtani's going to look good in our jersey next year. He's going to look real good in our jersey. And I hope to God, I hope to God that Crawford and Brash having a fun conversation over on the bench there. It's pretty good. Cool to see. I hope they go for him. I said earlier, Sean, that's my deal that I've on the Mariners. I circle Ohtani and I say we're going to make the greatest pitch of any player that we've made in our history here to him in free agency. We have never gone after anybody more aggressive than we're going to go after Shohei this offseason. And maybe he turns us down. But if he does, it's not going to be because he doesn't sense our lack of interest, and it's not because we're not willing to match note for note, dollar for dollar, bond for bond, freaking whatever altcoin they want to throw out, and whatever it takes. No one is going to outspend you for his services. And if they can come back to the fan base and tell us that, Sean, then I'll feel happy they made their strongest run at him, and it broke as it broke. But they need to make that kind of run. Skyler says 31 years old, $31 million a season. Yeah, I have a hard time doing the trade for the guys that are in their 30s, Skyler. Baseball is too much of a sport now in this post-steroid era where the players get into their early 30s and they're not having career best years like they did in the late 90s. So you can't look at it through that same view, and you have to look at it like, they're getting to the edge of their prime. I'd look more for a guy in his early 20s. Dylan Moore hits this sky high up into the area in the middle field. Third baseman's underneath it, and that will be out number 2. Spectre 7 says apparently the Mariners are only 1 win behind their pace from last year. That sounds about right. On the surface of it. It's got a lot of certain similarities to last year. It does. Garth says Soto rakes. He does. If I'm not mistaken, too, I think he's a switch hitter. That'd be a guy that I probably would go to him first and foremost. Skyler says El Bombay would be fun, but he's about 30 years old, too. Yeah, there's a lot of guys at 30. We need this next generation stepping up with some of the young hitters coming to the forefront. Got a lot of guys in their early 30s still kind of ripping through when you look through the top guys who are still getting it done at the dish. Skyler Thomas is top of the head. Mendoza line 234. Top of the head. Well, Mendoza line's 200. That's technically the Mendoza line. But Soto's just a lefty. Okay. Well, but at least with that lefty swing, that fit nice into the stadium. Big Country says Soto draws walks better than anyone in baseball. Another place where I think he'd fit well. I think we're onto it here. We need to go down to San Diego this offseason if we can't get Ohtani, and we can be like, look, Padres, you tried to sign the super team. You tried to build a super team. It didn't work. Let us help you. You help us. We'll take Soto, and then you can have Bryce Allen and what if we traded for Soto and signed Ohtani? That'd be awesome. I don't know. We'll give him something. Jose Caballero's got himself into a 3-2 count here, runner on first. Cabby's had a tough day at the dish here. Not necessarily his fault as much. He's had some tough pitches. He's had some tough calls by the ump behind the plate. See if we can make a little bit of noise. Three-two count. Jose dabs up the plate, looking ready to go. Bites off a tough 94 mile an hour fastball in the hands. Maintains 3-2. Gar says, who benefits more with the challenge system or full-time robo-ump? I think pitchers 51%, hitters 49%. I don't know. I'd almost think, to me, the robo system, to me, would be better helping the hitters. I would still use your same 51-49, Garth, but I would say I'd lean more to saying it helps hitters, because it seems like it's more the hitters who know where the call is at and then the ump messing it up than it is. I don't see a lot of times where hitters are like throwing a tissy fit and it's not that the ball was off the plate or was too low, versus the pitchers that throw a perfect strike and don't have it called. And Caballero maintained some strong at-bats throughout this night. I liked his approach throughout this season at the plate. He's definitely cooled off through time, but good job there by forcing himself to get a walk going. We got runners on first and second now, and a guy in Crawford who is having another tremendous game. Having a tremendous game today without having one base hit. Made the play of the day out there in the field last inning. He's drawn a couple of walks, got himself a run. Finding ways to help this team however he may. Nitro Hawks says, Brandon, you 1v1 the average 16-year-old YMCA player. What's the score going to be? In basketball, I'll smoke a 16-year-old. I'll show you guys at some point. I know I talk my game with it. I'm not a big talker when it comes to sports, but fastball, high, strike one. I'm good at basketball. You'd be maybe a little surprised if you saw how well I could handle basketball. So they all come up and challenge me all the time. I go to the thing and I just try to go find one end of the court and shoot, and they all come up and they 1-1, let's go 1-1. I have too many tricks. I got too many old man tricks playing this many years. I can do every Euro step. I can back you down. I can cross you over. I can Tim Hardaway cross you over, or I can Allen Iverson cross you over. You can get it. You can get however you want to get it. I'm not athletic. I can't jump. I'm not fast, but you don't have to be. And Crawford gets a miserable call on him here. Again, proof, as I was telling you guys earlier, Blues trying to get to a date. He has Crawford on a check swing, calls him strike 3 on it. Crawford doesn't like it. He holds his bat still to show him how far he had drawn it. And yet the umpire looks at him and says, hey, she's a blonde, all right? What do you want me to do? Ethan says, I find it hard to believe Soto would sign an extension here. It would be an extremely expensive rental. It's possible, Ethan. I think the thing to consider here too, though, is that if I'm not mistaken, he's from the Dominican Republic, as is Julio. What about the possibility of coming to a place that's, maybe a spot that can be a little bit of a Dominican Republican North, But it'd be hard to pull it off. But the whole exercise here, Ethan, was just pick any player, right? Who's the player you'd want to pick as the guy to go and jump out there and grab. And I think he would be probably at the head of my list to bring in here if you could bring in him. But, yeah. Ethan says, if we are just a Soto away, sure, but I don't think we are. I don't think it'd be the only move that you would make. The team needs to do other things. The team's going to need to deal with third base. The team's going to need to deal with first base. The team's going to need to deal with one outfield position, if not potentially 2 outfield positions. The team's going to need to deal with second base and its plan there going forward. All of that stuff is going to need to be addressed. But if you can make a splash on one of those areas, that'd be great. And I think one splash move doesn't preclude them from making other moves in addition to it. Skylar Thomas, 200. Skylar says, got it. Maybe my uncle's coaches told me something different as some sort of verse psychology, laughing out loud. Oh, let me make sure I'm referencing it right. It's on Mendoza line baseball. The Mendoza line is a 200 batting average. The Mendoza line was coined by a teammate of Mario Mendoza on the 1979 Mariners, by the way. We got our fun fact of the day. Let's do our fun fact of the day here. So the Mendoza line was a term coined by a teammate of Mario Mendoza on the 1979 Mariners, usually credited to Tom Pasaracek or Bruce Bochy, as a joke on the light-hitting shortstop who typically carried an average of around 200, though he actually finished with a career mark of 215. So yeah, it means 200. It's funny, I didn't know it came from the Mariners. I thought that was one that went back to like the Red Sox in the 50s or something. So that's pretty funny that it was a Mariner. A Mariner, of course it was, right? Of effing course it was. We couldn't even hit for a batting average in 1979 on AstroTurf. What the hell is wrong with us? Munoz out here with an 0-2 count quickly to the first batter this inning. We are bobbing the ninth. We've got the Bombayeros in effect here, hopefully with Munoz, the flamethrower, out on the bump. Mariners trying to close this game off. See if they can pull out 3 wins. Get Ohtani up to the plate with hopefully nobody on base. 0-2 pitch to Luis. Fights it off. Foul. Nitro says, now I want to 1v1 you. How tall are you? I'm right at 6 feet tall. Maybe with age now, I've probably lost a quarter of an inch. So probably like 5'11 and 3/4 or something. But no man at 5'11 calls himself 5'11. Every man at 5'11 calls himself 6 foot. Just like every man at 5'10 calls himself 6 foot. And why shouldn't you? No one wants to be in the fives. Luis Renifo is battling hard here against Munoz. He's got the count still at 0-2. Fouled off a couple of tough pitches fouled here. Munoz pumping in the zone. High and away, 1-2. Suarez and outfield, I think, pretty solid for next year. Suarez is actually mega cheap. Entire year, he's been hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position. That's encouraging part for him. And if you can't deal with if we can't find something to deal with the third base side, you can always just run it back. But it is a place that's potentially room for an upgrade there too. And Luis Renifo has fought off 3 pitches here after he got himself into an 0-2 spot. Low, ball 2. Big Country says you can upgrade first base, second base, right field, DH. Yeah, you can do that too. I mean, if you didn't do Suarez and you've upgraded those, then you're fine too. I think they got flexibility where there's not a sacred cow of Suarez over there, where if it's just because of the nature of what's opened up as far as the potential deals and the potential players there, but those would be I'd put that priority in that spot too. This ball hit on the ground to second base. Caballero up with it, and he quickly throws him out for out number 1, and this is how you want to do it. Get Shohei Ohtani up to the plate without anybody on and a 2-run lead. This is what we call ideal. Skylar Thompson's fun facts, baby. Yeah, I definitely got psyoped. But hey, I always played above average defensively and hit 234 plus, laughing my ass off. They're being cruel, man. You were way above the Mendoza. Way above the Mendoza. They looked at it, they were like, close enough. That's kind of cold, though, Skylar, because the Mendoza is 200. I mean, 200's 230, 200. There's a difference there. Munoz being real careful with Shohei here, quickly 2-0. Skylar says, I'm 5'10 and 5'8 and proud to own it, laughing out loud. Hey, there you go. There you go. I just round up. I always round it up. High, ball 3. Just walk him at this point. Just put him on base. Victor says, I'm 5'9", I'm a midget. No, you're average size. 5'9's average. Midgets or midgets? 3-0 count here to Ohtani. he was looking to take that one out. Big swing. Strike one. Munoz wasn't giving him a pitch either. That was one of those. Let me see if I can park it in the parking lot. Munoz comes set 3-1. Here's a delivery. Strike. Oh, he got a nice call there, did we? Blue gave us one back on that one. That was about an inch or two outside, and he called it a strike. 3-2 here to Shohei. Power on power. Swing and a miss. Got him with was that a slider or an off? That was a sinker. Beautiful pitch by Munoz. That thing is so nasty, man. When he throws that up at the edge of the zone like that, falling away from the lefty, nothing Ohtani can do with that. Just an awkward swing by Shohei. Big strikeout by Munoz. 0-2. Fantastic pitch. Low ball one here to CJ Cron. We got a call, Ethan. They gave us one back. Y2K says, I'm just saying a sweep here has to improve Ohtani's offseason odds. You'd have to. I could just see him referencing it where he comes back in the offseason and he signs the Mariners. Fastball, strike at the knees, 1-1. And they're in the press conference and they're Shohei, why'd you, he's like, the love I was getting at the All-Star break. They came into our stadium last year and they were trying to get to the playoffs. You could see it in their team spirit, what they were trying to do. They were just balling out. And they came in, they swept us. I mean, it shows you it's an organization trying to go out there and take that next step forward. And I want to be part of that organization that's going to help me take them that next step forward. And it would be so very wonderful. Yes. 1-2 count here to CJ Cron. Bottom of the ninth, 2 out. Batted foul. Barely got any wood on that one. Mariners up 3-1, looking to take 3 straight here from the Angels and set the stage for a potential sweep tomorrow. This team is as hot, red hot, as any team in baseball. Let's see if they can button this one up. Munoz comes set. The one. The delivery. It's a little low. Ball 2. Skyler says, the threat of me being benched loomed over my head and forced me to perform. I'm not mad at it in retrospect. Got to do what you got to do as a coach to motivate, Skyler. And sometimes you got to play a little dirty. Munoz with the pitch. Fouled back. Cron doing a good job of John Travolta staying alive. Sometimes you got to be creative in what it takes for the motivation, Skyler. They knew you. They knew what it was going to take. A good coach knows what buttons he's got to push. If you got to lie about the Mendoza line, you lie about the Mendoza line. Munoz with the pitch inside. Cron's got himself here into a 3-2 count now. Very well done on his part. He has grinded this at bat into a 3-2 count. Munoz comes set, 3-2. Oh, what a great pitch right on the edge of the zone. It did look to be about a centimeter off the plate, so I got to give the umpire I got to give him a tip of the cap on that one. That was a really good call there. That looks like that's off the plate to me on that pitch. So that will put a runner on now. Tying runner up to the plate, Mike Mastukas. Your cleanup hitter, 0 for 3. Munoz comes set inside. Andres having a little bit of an issue here finding his control all of a sudden. Munoz taking over the Matt Brash role of Heart Attackville tonight, I guess. Ethan says Shohei's swing would be so good in Seattle he can hit it into the third deck. Also, he would be a top 3 pitcher every year in this ballpark. It so fully works together on so many levels to me, Ethan. If you go through it bit by bit, your reasoning, absolutely, I'd put in there. I've been pining for the left-handed hitter to take advantage of what I've often called the Griffey right field porch out there. That's the dimensions it was originally built for, and Shohei's swing has a lot of similarities. and his ability to pull it down and take advantage of that. 1-0 count here for Mike. Strike. The ball also does carry with just the way the wind and the nature of the wind works in that stadium better to the right field side. So you're right. I think Shohei wouldn't see his numbers dip at all in that stadium as far as a hitter. And then you would see his numbers as a pitcher probably go up and become even more dominating. 1-1 count. Hit on the ground here. That's going to be a base hit, and that's going to get through. Trouble on the double. Mariners have got 2 runners on against them here. Munoz, the closer, taking back over here for Sewald. It's a good pitch. Just good piece of hitting to find the hole there. Caballero almost able to come up with it with a diving attempt. But this now does bring up the winning run to the plate. Brandon Drury up now. He is 0 for 3 in this game. Flew out in the 7th. If Munoz can find his footing here back, he just does not seem really particularly comfortable since he started to get into the deeper part of that count on Crone. Kind of just sort of trying to feel around a little bit. Feel himself. That would have sounded weird. Runners on first and second, 2 men out. Bottom of the 9th. Strike. Beautiful pitch on the black. 98. Mariners up 3-1. Munoz trying to close this out. Brandon Drury has been red hot, hitting .367 through his last 15 games. 4 bombs, .992 OPS. Inside, ball 2. Sean Lee says, damn, Munoz, quit making this dramatic. Oh, Lordy. Brandon 0 for 1 with a strikeout in his career versus Munoz. The wind, the delivery, he hits this hard down the line, and that's trouble. This ball's going to get down and get out, which is probably for the best that it did so, as that will score a runner. It bounced and then went into the stands. If it did not, and it had gotten down, I think that runner gets home at that point from third. Dylan Moore trying to track it down, just a well-hit ball. I don't think he had any chance. And yeah, he knows it, man. We would have had the tying run in at that point if that thing doesn't go out. So Tom Murphy comes out to talk to Munoz. Runners on second and third, 3-2. Mariners still holding on to the lead, but they need Munoz to lock this down. Doesn't quite have his A command tonight, which is definitely a lot of the problem you see when Munoz, it does go wrong for him. He just doesn't have the feel for the zone, and you can sense a little bit of that tonight. We've got the Mariners are going to intentionally walk Moniak. Guy hitting you're going to walk the guy hitting 312 to get to the guy hitting 250, being Renfroe. The right fielder now will come to the plate. Righty on righty. Renfroe 1 for 3 in this game, batting 7th in this lineup tonight. Bases are loaded, force at every bag. Yeah, Munoz comes after Renfroe here. Swing and a miss. Renfroe took a mighty cut at it. Right at the top of the zone, 98-mile-an-hour fastball, 0-1. Munoz comes set. Swing and a miss. Another 98-mile-an-hour fastball, top of the zone, challenging him again. Gnarly pitch. Nothing you're going to be able to do with that thing. 0-2. Munoz comes set. Can he put this baby to bed? Hit up into the air, foul by Renfroe. It will remain 0-2. Munoz spits out some nervousness. Twiddles the ball in his hand. Steps back up to the bump. Bases loaded. 2 men out. Mariners up 3-2. Swing and a miss. 3 straight 98-mile-an-hour fastballs to put it to bed. Beautiful job by Munoz with the game on the line. It wasn't pretty, but he got the job done. Mariners walk away with their 3rd straight game in this series as they will go for the sweep tomorrow. 4 straight games in a row. They are 8-1 in their last 10 games. They're 8-1-1 in their last 10 series, sorry. Just nice run here by this Mariners team. Playing some very, very good overall baseball. Tonight was about George Kirby, who was just sensational throughout, including a 7th inning where he really gutted down, and then Munoz gets himself into trouble, finds his way out of it. Crawford with an amazing play on a double play ball in the 8th inning that's really helped them to set the tone, and the Mariners playing a little bit of tack on in the previous inning on top of it. Good to see all the way down the line. Just part of why this team's been on this run. It's a variety of doing different things really well throughout this time period. So the Mariners do remain hot. They remain right there in the midst of this contention for a potential playoff spot here as we go forward. It's really good to see. And I'm happy our Mariners are showing this spirit. It is sorry, I put my thing off there. I was trying to get over to my image. There we go. Nice game though. Nice game, boy. Had me a little bit on edge there. I was a little bit worried there on that one for a second. Garth, woof, that's the right word to go. Space, what's up, man? It's good to see you. Arturo, hello. Sean Lee, what's up? Steel, go Mariners. The whole stadium was on their feet. That was a little dodgy there at the end, but they pulled it off, and we don't call them the Heart Attack Mariners for nothing. It's always been the Heart Attack Hawks, but the last 2 years it's become the Heart Attack Mariners. And yeah, it's they fit the form tonight. Also got to give props to Julio. They're showing his highlights here of him, and he played a fantastic game for the Mariners too. His bat really was helped draw you through. You only managed through seven hits this game, 3 earned runs, but some timely hitting, which was nice to see. Skyler says, "Let's go, sweet final call on that last out." B, felt like I was there. Thank you, Skyler. I love doing this type of stuff. I'm certainly going to be on my, I'm going to be in my bag once we get to the games this season with the Seahawks on it. You know, this week with the preseason, I love doing the play-by-play stuff, man. I love doing the streams, period, but I do love doing play-by-play. I really do. The ball game is Shover. It is. The Marlowe Grand Slam was pretty cool. It was. They've had some pretty epic wins throughout this run, too. They haven't been just them beating the hell out of everybody. They've had to kind of fight and grind and scratch and claw and grit their way through them a little bit. Grit them way. Sean says sweep tomorrow. Let's get that sweep. Let's put this Angels team away now for this year, right? Let's get them in all their dreams and all their hopes and all of their thoughts that maybe if we can have a playoff run and we can keep Ohtani and then he'll stay here forever and he'll be ours forever. No. We continue to keep at the forefront of Ohtani's mind that he will never win there. That Anaheim will never be a winner. And there's only one place he can go to achieve that winning culture, those good vibes, that lineage of players from Japan having come play there already. It's much like the Yellow Gold Brick Road, isn't it? Just forming right up there to the Pacific Northwest. Right up the 5. Don't even have to leave the freeway. Just stay on the same freeway. You'll get there eventually. You'll eventually arrive home, Shohei. Let's make it happen, buddy. Let's make it happen. Sam Great says, "Let's go Mariners." Let's go, man. Let's get this game tomorrow. Get it. Definitely with the Big Country says, I think we just ended the Angels season, definitely with a sweep. I think you're very close to doing it if you haven't done it already. This was a team that was hoping that they could maybe find some fire with Trout out, but I don't think they're well equipped to make a playoff run. And I think that this very well could be that final sort of kicking them over a bit and pushing yourself over the top of them. And now we just got to target Astros or the Rangers up next and find our way over the top of that. I mean, I know we don't have to, technically, there's other teams we can get ahead and they can still, but I'm still looking at this division. I'm still looking at that. Why look further away at this point when we still have 2 long months of baseball and anything can happen. It's a wild sport in that way. Anything can happen. When you got a marathon season like this, you go through so many different emotions and places of where you see the team at. I think that they're still hard pressed to make a World Series run, but it has happened before. There have been teams even in recent history that have had some time that they've taken to find their footing over the course of the season before they finally found it and then caught fire and then found themselves in a World Series with a trophy, with a championship. So we'll see if they can get that part of it. Beeves is with me, man. He says, calling an AL West division win. I'm with it, man. I still got my eye. I ain't just thinking wild card. I still got my eye on this division. Why not? Why not dream big? Who says we can't? Who says this team can't get hot? We just need a couple of these guys to hit to their career norms. A few of these guys hit to their career norms through the back half of this season. We'll be money. We'll be money. And Marlowe's been a good surprise. Definitely needed, too. You had no Swag Haggerty this year. You know, Kelnick out. It's tough. It's tough. Well, we're going to call it on that, folks. I will be bouncing back tomorrow over on my football stream. We're going to be talking a little bit about the scrimmage and diving into a bit more of that. I'm going to be trying to do as much as I can of the baseball streams throughout the year. We got a jam-packed schedule for football coming up here with 2 B&B streams a week, Sunday and Wednesday streams, Thursday member streams. So it'll be hard times to get through in here, but if you're looking for days where we'll probably be, if I'm targeting and looking to go, if we got any day games going on here in the week, I'll probably drop on those. Monday nights are obviously going to look a little bit better too. Potentially for streaming nights for me on the baseball side of it. So I still will try to get a few games on. Obviously not going to get anywhere near the 80 game mark I was hoping to this year, but doesn't mean that we still can't get a good cluster of games this season. And I am going to try to still work on some shorter content too for the channel as I can. I just have to kind of put in the work on the football side as I need to right now. So just kind of the nature of the beast as it stands here. I appreciate you guys watching. Voodoo Magic says, damn, the time you stream, I miss it. I will be back, I promise, here somewhat soon. Let me take a look at the schedule for the Mariners here. And I'll give you guys the next point where I'll be looking at getting on streaming here. Let me take a look. Probably going to be hard to do it tomorrow. Let's see here. So we've got tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and then Tuesday's the next game. So I'll be doing the stream. So let's for sure, at the very least, let's get the 1 in a week if we can, and then try to expand beyond that. But let's for sure shoot for 6:40 on next Saturday, August 12th. We have a 6:40 game. If I can, I'll try to stream before that time period. But put down on the mark your calendar and all that good stuff. We'll do next Saturday as a stream for sure on the baseball side with Baltimore at home. We got Kirby and Bradish going, so it should be a good fight between those two on that side of things. So Voodoo, I'll try to get this going a little bit more as I can. I swear to God, I do want to make it roll over here and keep things cooking along. It's just kind of like we're talking a couple nights ago in that Voodoo about the nature of it. It's just a little bit, I get pushed to the football stuff a little bit more right now, but we're making progress here. So if you guys aren't subbed up, please do get subbed up to the channel. I'm sure you guys all are, and hit that like button if you could. I would appreciate it. News and analysis, Arturo says, well done, Mariners. Well done, Mariners. Y2K says, just don't stress yourself out with M's channel. Just have fun with it. That's what I'm going to do, man. That's what I'm going to do. And, once we eventually get to a place where I can get editors and stuff over on the Hawks channel and get some more help on certain things, which we're not super far from getting to that place, then it'll be easier to get more of the content churned out in other areas. But it's the stem to stern nature of the work that you got to do, from the thumbnails to the clips and all that. It just takes so much damn time. Big Country says, go M's, man, go M's. Voodoo Magic says, great game. They're just such a finicky team. It's a finicky team, Voodoo, and that's why I do say that I think it's hard to necessarily look at this team and say it should have World Series aspirations, or that is a feasible outlook on where this team would likely go when you have so many teams in the league that have built themselves up as World Series contenders and seem to have so thoroughly built their teams and are playing stronger baseball throughout the course of the year. But when they're hot, you could make the argument, Voodoo, there is no other team hotter than them in the league. When they're cold, they're cold. But if they can get to that hot spot, this is a pretty young team overall. So maybe not as much a tired team as we go into the depths of the season, hopefully. And we'll just have to see how it all plays out, man. It is at least good, as I started out this stream talking about Voodoo, and as I maintain now, it is at least good to see the resiliency that was there last year re-showing back up this season. In baseball, we've had so many teams throughout the years with Mariner baseball that have shrunk at times when the going got rough. And this team is the tough get going. That is what this team has been over the past couple of years. It's not easy. They've struggled to find themselves at times, but they're going to grind. They're going to find a way. They aren't going to give up. They're not going to lay over and show you their belly. And whether or not this brings and produces results for them getting back to the playoffs this year, I do have faith that that's going to be something they can carry forward with them into the future. And can be a part of those teams as they do improve in the other areas that they need to improve with. So hopefully so. Gio says this has been a great run for the Mariners. Feels like every game has been playoff atmosphere. Boy, does it ever. It's cranking up. That's for sure. You can feel it on the players. You can feel it. Libra Dragon says, Chaos Ball. Embrace it. Love it. Live it. Skyler says, go M's, go Hawks. Be safe, y'all. Much love. Good vibes only. Good vibes only, man. Well put. I appreciate you on that. Garth says, Angie Mennick puts on some LBs. We are putting on some LBs as we age, Garth. It's inevitable. It's inevitable, man. What are you going to do? Devo, you have yourself a great night. Y2K, you do too as well. Beebs, is there a chance Kelnick comes back this season? There is a slight chance, but then you are potentially bringing him back right at a point if you're getting into the playoffs. Do you want to try to move a guy out at that point that is a little bit cold, having not played almost in 2 months? Maybe something that they're not willing to do. Part of it may be driven by what kind of production they're getting from left field at that time. Is Marlowe still able to maintain what he's been able to do so far? Maybe not. If Marlowe falls back to earth, I think you lean a little bit more in the direction of trying to make a run, have Kelnick go out there and see if he can make a go out of it. But not likely would be my probable answer on that. Moodoo says, yes, and our schedule softens up in a week while the Rangers and Astros beat up on the A's and Royals already. It's the M's turn. Hell yes, it's our turn. It's our turn to feast on the week, to bloat out the wins a little bit. I feel you on that. Let's do it. Y2K is a look at the Mariners pitching staff next 4 years plus Julio. Not a bad place to build a team. They've got all the marks to make this team going into the future. Eventually they're going to have to cross their own little personal Rubicon of spending money or not and opening up the purse strings, because that's the final element. You've developed the team, you've developed the chemistry, you've developed the base, the foundation. Now you need to do what all teams need to do that have done that, which is to top it off, to find those guys that you can kind of artificially add to the team in other areas without having to develop from within. And that's their next step, I think, to find their advantage over there. Lieber says, if the ground rule failed to make the fence hop, the Mariners lose the game right there. Talk about the Trident. Go Mariners. I agree. That was a very, very nice jump for us on that ball. And I'm with you, man. If that does get down, then that runner gets home from third and that game's tied. And I think there is a very good chance with the way the momentum of that game was going, Libra. Say nothing of getting out of that inning, that you probably do end up losing that game if that doesn't happen there. Sometimes you need the ball to bounce your way. Sometimes you need to be good. Sometimes you need a little bit of both. My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Crow's Nest. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. And we will be back minimum next Saturday to stream out that Baltimore game. Try to get back before that if I can. I do appreciate you guys liking, subbing up as you guys do. Great talk and discussion as always. I'll see you guys on the flip side over in the Hawks Nest channel. But until next time, please don't you ever forget,